most of them here, somehow there was a miscommunication. They thought that the golf court ordinance was going to be heard today, but it's not. But they're here to speak on it, I guess. Most of them are here for that. We haven't approved the first one yet. The golf court for Lover's Lane. I'd like to open the regular scheduled Board of Supervisors meeting April 7th here at 3 o'clock. And with that, Mr. Williams, would you lead us in a prayer, please?
Okay. Lord God, let us pray. Gracious God, our Father, it's once again. Father, you have led us safely to this place. Father, you have allowed us to lie down last night and wake up this morning, Father, in good health and strength. Father, now we ask you as always, Father, strengthen our hearts and our souls that we can be one. Father, that we can make this county more than anything else or something you could be proud of and we could be proud of. Father, and after we had this meeting now, Father, just strengthen us. Father, let disagreeing be an agreement. Father, in the things that we do will be fruitful. Father, in the things that, in the decisions that we have to make, let it be, Father, that it'll be the best for everybody, from heart to heart and from breast to breast. Father, let us know, we know that the love that you gave for us, Father, because it wasn't anything on this earth, Father, that you kind of gave up on us as a generation, Father, and but you send your very best that you had, Father, to walk among us. Now, Father, as we are about to go about county business, Father, once again in Jesus' name, strengthen us that we may be one. In Jesus' name, we all do pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. Williams. Mr. Riccardi, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, before we get started, yes, roll call, please.
Mr. Williams?
Present.
Mr. Bill Harris?
Here.
Mr. Crittenden?
Here.
Mr. Jesse?
Here.
Mr. Don Harris?
Here. All right, we have a quorum. I'd like to welcome everybody that's here today, and you'll have opportunity to speak to the board. It's nice seeing the gallery filled a little bit, or mostly filled. With that, before I get started with the consent agenda, I'd like to welcome Kevin Gentry, a new county administrator, to his first board meeting. And how did your first week as a county administrator go for you?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It was very exhilarating.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just happy to be here and happy to serve.
Great. Well, thank you for being here. There would be a motion in order to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Jesse.
Second.
Second by Mr. Crittenden. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Sorry,
Yes.
Mr. Bill Harris? Mr. Crittenden?
Yes.
Mr. Jesse?
Yes.
Mr. Williams? Mr. Don Harris?
Yes. Approval of the consent agenda has taken place. Is there any changes in the minutes? I think there's two sets of them there, March and February. Any additions or changes to the minutes? Seeing none, we'll continue on. Items A through E, disbursements, payroll, minutes, and meeting agenda is all in your packet. I'm going to move down to item E, recognition awards, and Miss Anne Marie,
The purpose of this was to recognize a retired employee, Ricky Warren, who served us for 22 years. Boy, that sounded really like, he's still with us, but he wasn't able to make this meeting. His start date was July 2003, and he retired last year, 2025, after serving as our animal control officer and then became the animal shelter manager. In fact, he was instrumental in developing the facility that our animal shelter is currently in. So anyway, he was unable to make it tonight, but I will make sure he gets his award. Thank you.
Okay, so you're going to deliver that to him? Or do you want to put him on the next
No, I'll
meeting?
deliver it to him.
You'll take care
Yes,
of
sir.
that?
I got that.
Wonderful. Okay, let's move in right to what most, I'm assuming, the people here are today, and that's public comments sections, and you have a bunch of people for that?
I do. We'll start with the identified public speaker. First up is Nancy Moore of Deltaville.
Mr. Chairman, before Ms. Moore joins us, would you like me to go over our procedural rules for those who are not
Please.
familiar?
That would be wonderful, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Lewis?
I'm sorry, Ms. Moore, just give me 1 second. Thank you, I apologize for interrupting. Just so the public is aware, during the public comment period, each speaker will give his or her name and address to the board. Each speaker or individual will be given one opportunity to speak during the public comment, and all comments and/or remarks will be addressed to the Board of Supervisors, not the audience. It is 3 minutes per person unless you're representing a group of 4 or more. The 4 individuals must stand and state that they are giving up their time, and then that individual will be given 12 minutes. Thank you so much.
Thank you. My name is Nancy Moore. I live at 62 Lovers Lane in Deltaville. There's a number, I'm not here to talk for them, but there are a number of other residents from Lovers Lane who are here to support our effort in getting golf cart-friendly designation on Lovers Lane. I watched your meeting, the last one, and I want to thank all of you for spending as much time as you did in discussing this, and I felt that all of the comments that were made were very, very positive. I'm assuming that we don't need to plead our case as to doing this, is that correct?
We're not,
So, yeah, so just.
go
so-
ahead, County Attorney.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. So during the public comment period, this is the time for you to speak. The
Oh, you
board-
don't ask, okay. I just
No,
didn't
no,
know
you're
where
welcome.
we stood on this, because it
Yeah.
looked to me like you all were in favor of this, as long as we followed whatever VDOT required of us, and possibly our admission that we would maybe be on the hook for the cost for signage. So I wasn't sure, I didn't really want to beat a dead horse and try to push you on why we need golf carts if you've already been convinced that this is something to pursue.
It'd be nice of us to hear from you. And
Sure.
number one, it won't be on a vote tonight.
Sure.
It would probably be at the next meeting.
Gotcha.
Ms. Lewis?
Oh, so I was just going to say, please, we welcome you guys. We don't often have visitors. I know you're shocked to hear that, so we're excited to have you, so please feel free to come.
I thought they were here to see me.
It is the first day. So we welcome you coming and giving your statements. We don't want to deter you. I do think Mr. Kretz, if the chairman was to ask him, could give you a brief update to the board and the public can hear it. But it's not on the agenda tonight, just to let you know. And we don't know when it will be, because we're waiting on VDOT. But with
Absolutely.
that, we look forward to hearing from the public and why you think it is a good idea. We don't want to deter you from telling us that.
Sure. Now, I had sent a letter back on October 22nd to Mr. Kretz with our signed petition papers. Did you all see that? Would you like to see it? I have copies if you'd like to see it.
So I'm going to just, if
I'll
you-
leave them here. You can
Yep,
look
thank
at them
you.
later.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pass them around like I'm a school teacher. It basically is going to
Thank
tell
you.
you what I'm going to say. The reason that I spearheaded this was because I have a lot of neighbors who are elderly, or they are, have some physical maladies, and they're unable to walk up and down the street, which is something I do on a regular basis. So they really are not getting a chance to meet and greet with their neighbors. They're behind a windshield of their car. And it is very helpful for them to be able to get on a golf cart and go visit somebody that they haven't seen in a while. It might be the difference between a sociability situation or being kind of a shut-in. I have, my next-door neighbor is in that situation now. I also think that it's important for the neighbors in Lovers Lane to know each other, maybe not to be best friends, but to know each other and each other's comings and goings enough that we can look out for each other. We can make sure that if we haven't seen anybody in a while, that we would check in on them. Or if we see that there's somebody, there's no activity at a house for a while, that if we see something strange, it would be kind of a de facto neighborhood watch. And we feel like our street maybe meets the qualifications that VDOT has put out on their website, at least initially. It's a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. It dead ends at the water. The only people who drive our lane live here, or they are visiting, or they are delivering, or they are doing construction that has been already contracted for by the residents. So it's not like they're going from one place to another. We understand that they cannot leave Lover's Lane if we are given this opportunity. They must stay. They can't go on 33 or cross over it. That they have to have the proper signage on their golf carts, slow-moving vehicle, lights if they are using it after dark, and the like. So we're aware of the rules that we need to follow, and we're willing to follow them. When you post something like this on Facebook, you get a lot of naysayers and a lot of people, well, what if you give them this opportunity? You know, give an inch, take a mile, they're going to break the laws, they're going to go faster than they're supposed to, et cetera. We are a group of rule followers. When we found out that we were not following the rules, everybody stopped using their golf carts. So I think we've proven that we will do that.
Thank you, Ms. Moore.
I'll leave these, would I leave these with you?
Right with me. Thank you.
Please.
Thank you so much. Glad. Thank you for being here.
Ms. Riccardi?
Well, I got to learn how to dismiss that. I never heard it make the noise before. My next public speaker is Demetrius and Patricia Means of Topping, Virginia.
Good evening. My name is Patricia Means, and this is my husband, Demetrius Means. Thank you all for giving us the opportunity to speak today. We're here, I'm sorry, I didn't give my address, 506 Regent Road, Topping. You're welcome. We're here today because a preventable and deeply concerning accident occurred on our property on February 28th, 2006. And it highlights an urgent safety issue on the adjoining roadway. Recently, an individual traveling on Regent Road was involved in a severe accident that occurred on our property. The vehicle lost control due to excessive speed on a turn of the road that has long been known to encourage unsafe driving. The impact caused significant damage to our property and resulted in injuries to the driver. There's evidence of a pattern which we have reported to VDOT. A representative of VDOT came to our home on March 3rd, 2026 to assess the damage. There have been prior near misses, several other cars having accidents on our property, damage to landscaping, complaints from neighbors, speed data. The speed was changed, we believe, from 35 to 55 miles per hour. Road design issues, sharp curves, narrow shoulders, poor signage. Although there is a posted sign that reads, "Through trucks prohibited," we constantly see and hear trucks traveling on our road, especially at night. This is not the first time we've seen dangerous speeds on this road. Over the past few years, we have observed multiple near misses and property damage consistent with vehicles losing control. Companies and businesses have expressed similar concerns when having to do work at our home. They're fearful when turning into our driveway due to speeding vehicles. This matters because this is no longer just a property issue, it's a public safety issue. The next accident could involve a pedestrian, a child, another driver, or even a fatality. We should consider opportunities to prevent further harm. Might we propose possible solutions, for example, a reduced speed limit, speed bumps or rumble strips, additional signage, guardrails, road design, increased enforcement, or a traffic study? We are requesting, if at all, that the board or VDOT authorize a traffic safety assessment and consider implementing measures such as a reduced speed limit, improved signage, or physical traffic calming devices. In closing, My husband and I are committed to working with the county to ensure this road is safe for everyone. We appreciate your attention to this matter and hope we can take swift action to prevent another near tragedy. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Means, for being here. Mr. Means.
Thank you. Good afternoon, gentlemen and ladies. My wife mentioned the word near miss. We've had, on a couple occasions, cars that almost would have hit the house, but thank God we have trees planted within the yard that actually stopped the car. This is about the 5th time a car has come through the yard over the years. The last one was the police officers were chasing someone, and he cut through the yard, and he smashed into the tree. He got out and ran, and the officers had to go after him. But this has been going on for too long now, too many near misses to the house. Thank God for the trees, and I get concerned every time I hear a truck go by or a car go by. It's a dangerous situation. People come speeding all the time, and they don't stop. We've had people make U-turns in the middle of the street and end up into the yard. So we are just asking that this will be taken into accountability, that you guys would do a study and look at it, because I'm more concerned about being killed at night, me and my wife, with a car coming through the house. And so we would appreciate if this matter was looked at, and we thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Means. Ms. Riccardi.
Our next public speaker is Vicky Attardo.
Hi, I am Vicky Attardo, 186 Lovers Lane. I'm just here to support my neighbors. And if you guys would mind standing up, please. All of us of Lovers Lane. As you can see, we are a 55 and older neighborhood, mostly. And we would love to be able to ride the golf carts. We are safe people. We know the rules. And like Nancy was saying, some of the elderly folks on our street need their golf carts to get around. I only know of 6 golf cart users in our neighborhood. There probably are a few more. All of them are 55 and over, and the distance from the library, which is right there at General Puller, to the dock is only 0.7 miles. The road is a little narrow, but when my husband and I and my neighbors use the golf carts, we pull over if a car comes behind us just for safety reasons. We know that Chicks Cove has golf cart accessibility, and I've noticed their signage, and we are all in favor of getting the signage taken care of and coming together as a community to make that happen. Let me see, was there anything else here? I think that's about it. Anyway, I just hope that you will consider allowing us to use golf carts on that short little strip. It's just a nice way to get to know our neighbors. Our dog rides with us, and I know that Teresa and her husband, they also have their dog on their car. And we've met a lot of our neighbors through this, and it is a nice thing to be able to do, and I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for your comments. Ms. Riccardi?
Yes, my next public speaker, and y'all are challenging me today. I think it says Chris A. Fredrickson. Am I close?
Charles. I don't write too well.
I see it now. Charles.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, my name is Charles Fredrickson. I live at 462 Lovers Lane in Deltaville. Our house was built in 1908. At that time, the main mode of transportation was probably horse and wagon. Slower, different time, but there was still a strong sense of community there. Times change, times remain the same sometimes. When we moved there in 2020, we were impressed with the number of people who had golf carts and used them to get around the neighborhood in that quiet, friendly manner of old. We soon bought one. We saw that the golf carts created a fundamentally different social dynamic compared to the automobile-based community we experienced in Hopewell. When traveling at lower speeds in an open vehicle, you interact with neighbors naturally. You wave, you stop by to chat. you interact with you wave, you notice details about the community that just appear in a climate-controlled car traveling at 25 miles an hour. Simple difference recreates that old front porch culture that suburban design destroyed decades ago. The open-air nature of golf carts also changes how you experience your surroundings. You hear the birds, you smell the flowers, feel temperature changes throughout the day. These experiences connect you to your environment. Our children particularly love riding in golf carts, experiencing the neighborhood as an adventure rather than a boring commute. This is the vibrant, strong community that we want to live in and ask for your support to do so. We know the rules, we know the costs, we know the responsibilities, and are willing to abide by them if this designation request is approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your comments.
My next public speaker is Charlie Clough of Deltaville.
I'm Dr. Clough, Charlie Clough. I have my little cottage is at the end of Lover's Lane. We came down here probably in 66, 68. That lady that said 55 and older, I'm long past that. Two things I would expect you would want to consider. One is safety, and I don't know how somebody goes 25 on that road, but I don't go at about 10 or 15, and I pull halfway off when a truck's coming. I think it's much more dangerous to have increased trucks than go-karts or whatever you call them, going back and forth. And secondly is someone mentioned just that I've met more people, I've met more neighbors, I've had neighbors help me. I would have not had those chances without somebody in a golf cart that's going slow and wanted to know why I was having trouble doing something. So I think the sense of community they mentioned is really important. But and another person mentioned going off the road. I had a truck just a little bit from the state dock take one of my bushes out the other day. No, I mean, last couple of years ago, it was a crabber. I felt sorry for him, but he had just was going too fast. And I'm glad it was not my grandchild instead of the bush. So I think safety and pleasure are the two things that the golf carts are giving our little community.
Thank you, sir, for your comments.
I have one more submitted public speaker, and that's Larry Kidd of Deltaville.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having us here. My name is Larry Kidd. I live at 264 Lovers Lane, and we have another house at 515 Lovers Lane. So the golf cart to me is a very nice way for me to go check on the other property and to get to my boat that's on Jackson Creek. And I want to especially thank Nancy for setting this up, for having us here today. Thank you, Nancy. And I promised the fire chief that I would let it be known that, yes, I am a member of the fire department. No, I am not here on their behalf. I'm here on my behalf. So, golf carts are very, very important, especially to those of us at my age. And like Dr. Clough, I'm way past 55. In fact, we had an incident last year in our neighborhood at the big curve on Lover's Lane. We had a gentleman there, George Rowley, that had been living there for years, and my wife made a comment to me on a Thursday morning. She said, I'm worried about George. His car hadn't moved in a couple of days, and we haven't seen him. So I went down on my golf cart, pulled into his yard, knocked on the door, no answer. Got on the phone to our then sheriff, David Bushy, and called him and asked him to send a patrolman out, and he did, and we found George passed away on his kitchen floor. That's another specific reason for us being able to use golf carts in that neighborhood. Almost everyone is my age or close to that in there, and we have a young man by the name of, I'll call him young, he's 83 years old, Charlie Parkinson, and Charlie can't walk from here to where you're sitting, Mr. Crittenden. And Charlie was a 6-year veteran during the Korean War, and he deserves to be able to get out and see his neighbors and do things. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, sir.
That's the end of the submitted public speakers. There may be others that didn't
Is there
submit.
anyone else would like to speak today? Everybody good?
Can we speak about something other than golf cart?
Yes, sir, you can speak about anything you want. Only thing that you can't speak about is how we're dressed. But other than that, you can speak about anything you want.
I think you all look well, thank you. My name's Donnie
Go ahead,
Hatchett.
sir.
I live on Norton Lane,
Okay?
off of Lovers. And I live on a creek, on Jackson Creek. And I've tried various different avenues to get this problem checked on or rectified. But the boats in Jackson Creek, they're anchored out, which is a legal thing to do. But you cannot discharge any type of waste into the waters. Well, I called the health department here. They recommended I call VMRC. I called VMRC. They sent a boat, did a drive-by, and they called me, and he said, well, there's nothing we can do. I just don't understand how that there's nothing we can do. That's not a good answer to me. I just need more power, and that's why I'm here, to get somebody here to help with this problem. As all y'all know, Jackson Creek, the little sandbar up there, gets busy every year, very busy. There's a lot of young ones there, a lot of older ones there. There's a lot of real little ones there that play in that water. And it just hurts me to see them up there knowing that this sewage is being, it's got to be disposed in the water. I mean, I don't see them take a bucket to shore, and I don't know what they can legally do with it once they took it to shore. But I just hope that the board can see that maybe they can, somebody here can do a little checking into this. And I thought maybe an avenue to take is to approach the marinas here in the district and ask them that when a boat pumps out, to make sure that they get a pump out receipt. And a boat would normally have to be pumped out every 10 days. I've been a boater for 30 years up and down the coast. And, you know, I've never exercised dumping raw sewage into the water unless I'm 3 miles out offshore, not in the Chesapeake. But some of the boats have been there for 2 years, like I said. And they sleep there every night, and the sewage is going somewhere in that water, and it's getting ready to go by those young people up at that sandbar. Thank you for hearing my comment.
Thank you, sir, for your comments. Anyone else that'd like to speak? Seeing none? Hearing none? Oh, sorry.
Just real quick to follow up what Donnie just said. My name's Teresa Cash. I'm at 564 Lovers Lane. Those boats are out there. I've lived on the water the majority of my whole life, and when I first got my boater's license, it's very different than it is now. So I retook it about a month ago, and it talks a lot about the environment and what's supposed to be done and the different colors of the water. And it also talks about a lot of things that most people 30 years ago weren't on our tests for that. So it does talk about that and where you can dump. And most marinas have a place that you can go to and dump your sewage there and pay them for that, even though you're only traveling through. But the main thing is, my husband and I were down on the docks about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I've never seen this on the water before, but it was a murky, kind of like jelly sludge stuff coming all up around the dock. And it was probably 6 foot by about 4 or 5 foot. And it just, I was like, I wish I had my phone, but I'd take a picture of this to try to figure out what this is. And it's never done that before. Not saying that it's the boaters or the people that are living on those boats down there, but something is occurring. Our waters over the years have really gotten clear and clean, and if you come down on this dock, you'll see that it still holds for that. But we want it to stay like that. And with people living there, and if you had your boater's license, you would know that you can't do this. And it can't be just dumped right there. And these people do live there permanently. It's not throw you over like a lot of the travelers that come through and stay a couple of days and then they keep on going. This is completely, let's live here, it's nice and we can do what we want, and it's not. It shouldn't be like that. It took a long time to get the water where it is, and I certainly don't want to go backwards on it. So that's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anybody else would like to speak? Okay. Seeing none, hearing none, I'm going to close public comments. Mr. Kretz, would you like to speak on this particular, on the ordinance that you're looking at?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Where we're at with that, have submitted the application along with the VDOT requires a plan showing where all the signage is going. I submitted that. VDOT has responded and sent comments to me to address. They had a few comments on it. I've addressed those comments, and I believe it, I sent in this morning the newest revision for that. So it's back with VDOT. And Mr. Hammond's here. He's assured me that he'll try to see what he can do to, move that along as quick as possible. So anyway, hopefully this rendition of the plan is acceptable to VDOT and we can move this forward. So if everything works out, you may be ready for public hearing next month, possibly. So.
Wonderful. Yeah, let us know if we are ready for that.
Yes, sir.
And we'll put it on the agenda.
Yes, sir. So we're getting close.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Moving right along, item 3, constitutional officers. And I'll take the treasurer first. I know it's a report only, but we see you not every meeting, so come on forward and let us ask any questions that we might have.
All right.
First off, what comments would you have?
Well, I mean, things continue to go well over there. I did want to let everybody know that we are now able to accept e-checks for payments. That's
Okay.
something that we've been trying to figure out and get the details worked out, and that we haven't like publicly announced it yet because it was new and, we were trying to figure it all out. But even not being announced and people finding it on the website, it's really become a good thing, so.
Has people started using that currently,
Yes.
and are you equipped to handle that?
Yes.
Wonderful.
Basically, all the citizens have to initiate it themselves. It's not something that we can do in the office, but we can lead them to it. And it's a $1 transaction fee, a flat fee. However, if it's $1 for your bill or if it's $5,000, it's just that $1 versus the credit card processing fee, which is 2.45%. So I think it's going to be a good thing.
Good.
Most definitely. But we have, I think it was mid-February is when we turned it on, and we've had 52 payments so far that way. So coming
Well,
in.
in looking at your treasurer's collection comparison report, that looks pretty good.
Yep, things are looking good. I ran a quick report before I came over here, and we're at 85% on personal property.
Good.
Which is, it's pretty good. And real estate, I did send personal property delinquent bills out last month, so that's coming in. But real estate's in such good shape that, almost 98% on the first half has been collected, and a little over 96 on the second half, so our girls are rocking it.
My memory sometimes is not as good as it ought to be, but it looks like your percentages at this time of the year are higher than what they normally have been.
Yeah.
Am I correct on that?
I believe so, yeah.
Good.
And a lot of people are taking advantage of the online and just educating people, you know, letting them know.
Correct.
A lot of people prepay now, didn't know they could do that, and just talking with the public and helping out in any way we can, so.
Any questions for
Any questions?
Ms. Tracy?
I can try to answer them.
Y'all are doing a great job. We appreciate what you do for the
Thank
county,
you.
for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you very
I
much.
appreciate that.
Ms. Diggs? Come on, you got to stay. Oh, I forgot your legs hurt. How's that coming along?
It's coming. I'm 2 days back off of surgery.
Okay,
so
good.
Getting back into the groove and
Right.
waiting for this knee to heal up. So.
Any challenges that you're having at this point in time from the county side?
No, I don't see any that I've been back a couple of days. We're in the thick of personal property.
Yeah.
Business license are slowing down because they were due March 1st. So we have some stragglers coming in. And we're in the midst of getting the real estate file together so that we can get it over to the treasurer's office for billing.
Wonderful. Any questions for Ms. Diggs? Thank you, May.
Thank you.
Item number 4, agency and staff reports, VDOT, pages 45, 46.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I am not Lee McKnight.
No, I know.
So Lee is on special assignment in Fredericksburg.
Yeah.
I am Drew Hammond. I'm the assistant resident engineer, land use here at the residency office, and I have with me Jamie Horn, who's also our assistant resident administrator for maintenance. So I'm here to deliver Mr. McKnight's quarterly update to the board. So referencing the pages that are in the agenda, I'm going to run through those and add a couple of additional items that I've added to my list that have just come up over the past couple of weeks that Lee and myself and Jamie have been working on that we wanted to provide an update to the board with. So with no further ado, Project 123878, which is your intersection improvement project at 3 and 33 and 626, which is Regent Road. Turn lane project, that project is currently under preliminary engineering or in the preliminary engineering phase. It's set to finish preliminary engineering later this summer in July. After that, that project will move into right-of-way acquisition with an anticipated construction start time of December of 2026. Now, I will tell you, they're already behind with respect to the preliminary engineering development, and they've already adjusted the construction schedule. Looking at our tracking spreadsheet earlier today, it'll most likely be about 6 months behind starting construction. So really they're looking, instead of December of 2026, January of 2027, June of 2027. So that's where the department is with the development of that particular project.
And Drew, is this what you call a twiddle, or is this going to be like a left turn lane?
No, it's a left turn lane and a right turn lane.
So it's a left turn coming this way on the
Yep,
Regent?
left turn lane on the Regent, and then there'll be, they're doing some modifications to the right turn lane on the
On this
Regent
side.
also.
Okay.
Yep, so TWIDL's a wonderful acronym we like to use in VDOT for, it means a two-way left turn lane, or TWLTL, or TWIDL.
So that project's ahead of the Stamfords Bay project?
Yes, sir. Yep. There are a few other projects you'll probably see on next month's quarterly update that'll start to get added to your list. The one at 3 and 630, the Stamfords Bay Roundabout project, that one is expected to start construction in August of '28. So that's the reason it hasn't made the within the next 24 months list that's there. But I can give you a quick update. I do have some information on that one. So That's 123-880. That is the Route 3 630 Stampers Bay Roundabout project. That project is also currently in preliminary engineering, but preliminary engineering is not expected to end until July of 2027. So it's a year behind this one at Regent Road. Then we'll go into right-of-way acquisition for that particular project, and that one has an anticipated construction start time of August of 2028. And then you'll also see, there is a third one that's in that 24-month window that you'll most likely see next month too, and that's 117991. That's the Deltaville Multimodal Project, the one that has been scaled back from a multi-use path to a sidewalk path. That project is also in preliminary engineering phase. We are set to complete preliminary engineering on that one in August of this year. So it's kind of fallen in between the two of them. And then, of course, with that one, just like with the other two, we'll enter in right-of-way acquisition phase for that particular project. And that one has an anticipated construction start date of April of 2028. So that kind of falls right between the two of them. We hold to like the next 24 months. So like I said, expect next month, most likely, instead of having one project listed there, you'll probably have 3 projects listed and anticipate the start in the next 24 months here in the county itself.
Can I clarify for the minutes? You said the Regent Road turn lane construction starts June 20,
It is, yes, they adjusted the construction start date of that Regent Road project to June of 2027.
thank you.
Yeah, from December of 2026.
On the project on Region Road,
Yes, sir.
that is the turn lane coming off of 33?
Yes, it'll be a left turn lane off of 333 onto Regent Road.
All right, my question is, you took, we had been over this before, when Brian was here, and we was trying to get the speed limit lowered down on that road because we did have some near miss and a lot of near miss that, it don't get recorded. It also was a school bus incident that didn't get recorded. Now, we told you all about lowering the speed limit. We told y'all about lowering the speed limit. And what you all did was y'all raised the speed limit, made sure the sign was available at 55 miles an hour. And it also got questioned with whoever y'all doing the study, because it don't need a study. It needs something done. And then I gave a comparison of lowering the speed limit. I say if you go to West Point, what you call Shortcut Road, the speed limit is 40 miles an hour on that road. Now, that is a road that something was done. You all done nothing. Now, someone come tonight and come in and say, we have a near miss. See, a lot of the near miss we don't get talked about. And if you're looking at whatever study y'all doing, because it seems like people in the position is doing the study. You're not listening to the people that really drive the road, or people that live in the areas. And in my personal opinion, that is a great mistake, because maybe somebody you don't need, and we sure Lord don't need the people that we need, the people that are staying in the areas. Now, it's just like the gentleman came forth, and I will hope that you all be doing something about it when you go back to Brian. Tell Brian Reggie was speaking about this. He's going to move him up. He'll look at it. Because what you brought back was a 55 mile an hour speed limit. And being, I know that road, we got a lot of traffic on that road. And we have not slowed the speed limit down. And we got complacent because we're not doing anything. And see, what I'm saying is something need to be done. You don't need to study it. You need to lower the speed limit down, at least to show them that you care. That road don't have no shoulders on it.
Understood, sir.
But I understood. I want you to carry it on. And I'm gonna say something. I'm about to say what I want to say. I want you to carry this on up to whoever you got to carry it to. Now, I told Bryant one time, maybe it was 3 or 4 years. You know what I told Bryant?
What did you tell him?
I told Bryant, if you don't get something done, send a robot. And we'll put it in a robot and send it up to get an answer. So I want an answer from you. You're in Bryant Place. We want an answer. So these things happen. That was one thing. And another thing I got a question over. This is a supposed answer. What if? Today I was in a meeting and meeting with some people, and suppose that the high school right up the road,
Yes, sir.
in case we decide to build a new one on the other side of the road, is it a problem for VDOT to make it safe if we have students crossing the road? You don't need to answer right now. I want you to think about this one, okay? we're going, a new high school on one side of the road, and we have some buildings on the other side of the road. Stoplight, walkway, this is what I'm talking about. I don't want a whole lot of studying. I want you to get in your car, and fight for us. But these things you need, and I'm not gonna say this is gonna happen, but being the question did come up, because someone, well, you don't wanna do something, you think of all the reasons why you don't wanna do it. And I'm saying to you, hey, man, could you please check it out? If a school is on one side, right in Saluda. Students want to get to the other side of the road. My question asks, can you make it safe? I know you can. So then you be careful with the answer you bring back. And that's about it. But hey, let's do the speed limit right now too. These are true, the people came at night and they're telling you the truth. And this is not the first time that this has happened. And they say, you don't know how many times this had happened, and until somebody get killed or whatever do, then they come to you, and that's a number y'all put in too, I was told. Could y'all do something one time and say, well, we thought death in the computer? That's strange, isn't it? And if death don't say we need to do something, and you don't listen to the people that are living in the area, that's not great. So I just want you to check them two things out for me. I won't forget.
I wrote them down.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it, man.
I want to speak on Regent Road, but I'm going to let you get through your report though first.
Okay, I appreciate that, sir. So just a couple additional things to add. So those are the projects that I talked about that are on schedule for the next 24 months. Like I said, you'll see a couple of projects being added with next month's report. Traffic engineering request. It says none there. That's because we had a whole handful of hosts of stuff that we've done over the past couple of days since the report's actually been submitted to the board. Mr. McKnight wanted me to pass along that, at the board's request, we are having traffic engineering take a reevaluation of the 2021 speed study that was done on Regent Road. So he has already moved that along to traffic engineering up there at the district, along with the particular address for Mr. and Mrs. Means. So they are taking a look at that now to look to see what additional the department could do along Regent Road, specifically at that particular location, but they'll also look at the entire roadway unto itself. So the other thing too is we had heard that there had been concerns along 634, which is Marsh Pungo. I've already started to coordinate with Mr. Gentry about that particular piece. We did do a speed study on Marsh Pungo. It was last done in 2010. The result of that speed study is what resulted in the speed limit at it. If you're familiar with Marsh Pungo, before you get to the landing, the speed limit drops in the last 3.5 tenths of a mile to 25 miles an hour. That's what the speed study resulted in as a result of that. If it's the desire of the board for us to reevaluate Marsh Pungo, we can certainly initiate that process here at the residency office to have speed study done on that particular road to look to see, what could be implemented with respect to speed limits, signage, et cetera, along that particular roadway. So that kind of wraps up, at least with construction and traffic engineering requests, et cetera. As you're well aware, we're certainly coming out of a very busy winter season for VDOT down here. So what does that mean? We're spending a lot of time, you can see from, the completed projects and then just driving the roads out there. Our staff here at the area headquarters is, spending their days paving, patching potholes, pulling ditches, repairing shoulders, et cetera. In addition to just coming out of that particular work, they're also out doing maintenance work ahead of the 2026 resurfacing schedule. So resurfacing is done or managed by our construction group out of Fredericksburg, but we do have construction manager, area construction engineer here in the residency office. And when we get that schedule, we like to go out and do as much maintenance work as possible ahead of that rescheduling. So we really hate to put down a new surface and then tear it up and basically have to fix it right after we put it down. So Jamie and his folks have been really hard at work getting that done. Our contractor, mowing contractor, just completed the first round of litter pickup on all of the primaries throughout the county here. We like to do that right after the winter season is over. Get all of that litter picked up. Basically paves the way for roadside management to come in and put down what we refer to as growth inhibitor. Basically, it slows down how fast the grass grows.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
On litter pickup, is that contract out?
Yes, sir. Our mowing contractor.
And that's open people who can bid on it?
Yes,
Or
sir.
you already chosen the ones who's gonna do it?
You want to, can you speak to that, Jamie?
Our mowing contract's set on a 5-year period. Our mowing contracts are set up on a 5-year period, so once that 5 years, it's a 1 year with 4-year renewals. And once that renewals are ended, then we put the contract back out, and at that time, anybody that is EVA certified, meaning you can do business with the state, you're able to bid on those contracts at that time.
How come y'all pick 5?
Sir?
How come y'all pick 5 years? I thought it was a year.
No, sir, they're 1 year with 4-year renewals, they're 5-year contracts.
5 years?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I just want to know.
Thank you.
Continue, sir.
So with that, Mr. Chairman, we are gearing up for the first round of 3 of mechanical mowing on the primaries. We were looking to start that particular process June 1st, get the primaries done within 30 days, so before the July 4th holiday hits in. Before we do that first round of mechanical mowing, those contractors will actually go out there and do litter pickup again. And then they will do litter pickup prior to the second round of mechanical mowing and the third round of mechanical mowing. And then once we finish the first round of mechanical mowing on the primaries, we will move to the secondaries. We'll look to start the secondary routes, and we do 2 rounds of that, and we'll look to start that July 1st. And before both rounds of that, we also do litter pickup with the contractors there too. Let's see. Just a couple of other things to highlight there. We've certainly, like I said, been doing a lot of maintenance work as a result of a long winter. Our crew over here at the area headquarters has certainly been doing a lot of ditching, shoulder repair, pothole patching, a lot of sign removal, debris removal, and then, like I said, doing pothole patching countywide. And then upcoming, the folks over at the area headquarters will be working on 33. We've got a slope repair project that we've got to do there. We've got some shoulder repair to do on 629. A lot of ditching work that we're doing throughout the county.
I don't want to keep cutting you off, but I got another question.
Yes, sir.
You got shoulder repair on 629. What side of 629 is that? Is that on?
Do you know which one that is, Jamie?
Okay. Then
We'll
my
get it.
question is, I don't see 619 on it. And I don't see 619. 619 runs from 33 to 629. And see, when we shut down the road on 629, you cause more traffic to go to 620 on 619. And 619 is being destroyed, and I don't even see that on the list. Now, I got, some people calling me right much on 619. I would like to see a whole new road go through there.
Right.
Whether we're gonna get it or not, if you don't ask for it, you don't look at it, So I'm saying something need to be done. I'm getting a lot of people that's getting concerned about 619, it goes to 629. And the very peculiar thing about it is that 629, you have widened it, you cut the grass better on one side where the bridge at, and on the other side, you look like you've done a pretty good job on the other side, but 619 goes right straight through the middle, which you have done nothing in the reroute of a lot of traffic, goes past the middle school and the elementary school. So y'all did a little bit of work on in front of the elementary school. Then when you go down past the elementary school to go to 619, you didn't do anything.
And that's Haley's Road, correct?
Yeah, that's Haley
619?
Road. Yeah,
Okay.
that's Haley Road. You might put a new school down there. I don't know.
We do have plans in the fall to pull shoulders on 619. along with we're having a lot of the roads that's not on this year's resurfacing schedule, also have some additional tar and gravel on those roads that's not on the schedule to help beef them up as well. So 619 is on the schedule to have at least the shoulders pulled this year for sure.
You did say asphalt, didn't you?
No, sir.
But Mr. McKnight definitely wanted me to point out, that's one of the last things on here is to talk a little bit about 619. So, and just continuing to patch potholes countywide, Mr. Kretz, with respect to land use, kind of already stole my thunder, but that's okay, that's not a problem. Over the past month here in the county with respect to land use, which is predominantly the area that I work in, we've issued 3 land use permits. We've completed 2 land use permits. Mr. Kress has sent us a handful of documents or subdivision plans, et cetera, that have come in for review. We're currently working through those, but the most notable one was he did just turn in a revision hours before we walked over here for Lover's Lane and the land use permit for golf cart. So we're taking a look at the revisions that he graciously worked on the end of last week and the beginning of this week. And then, like I said, Mr. Williams, Mr. McKnight, definitely wanted me to mention to the board 619 and Healy's Road. That wasn't selected this year for resurfacing for 2026, and that was due to funding constraints and the rating that was on it. But he wanted to pass along that 619 will still continue to be a priority for the residency office, and we will still continue to push and make that a priority in submitting that for consideration for funding, for 2027 and going forward. So, Mr. Chairman, with that, that's everything that I had to present. Jamie and I are here to answer any questions that the board may have.
Yes, I'd like to ask a couple questions. First of all, I appreciate what y'all do, trying to keep the roads in Middlesex looking good. But we had a couple come up here and speak to Means about their house there. And I'm blessed to have left MCV, and they put me in a car and brought me right down to Middlesex. So I've been around here a couple of years. And I've seen these tracks going through their yard. I mean, we're talking about people now that are in their house, and they're wondering if they're going to wake up the next morning. That's how serious it is with them. It keeps happening and keeps happening and keeps happening. I think they've kind of lived with it for a little bit, but they can't anymore. I mean, so we're talking about life now. We're talking all the good things you do. You try to get us around so we don't have wrecks on the highway and all. I'm very appreciative. But they don't have cars running through their house, running through their property, missing their house once, twice, 2, 5 times. And I only know it might have been more than that that's been through there. I mean, I have seen this and witnessed it myself. Please, whatever you can do something for them. If you can put up something temporary to be able to let them sleep at night, whatever you can do for them. I mean, we're talking about life now, that they're worried about getting killed. So whatever you can do, I really would appreciate it. I know they would too. Thank you.
Certainly appreciate that. The only thing that I would add to that is the engineer and me did take a look at the speed study that was done in 2021. And just for a little bit, Mr. Gentry and I talked about this a little bit last week. We got together and kind of talked about some other stuff. But one of the big things when we do a traffic engineering study and we look at speed limits, one of the things that we're held to in the state of Virginia is to look at the 85th percentile operating speed on a particular roadway.
Was that like 72 miles an hour?
That one was the 85th percentile operating speed on that particular roadway was 72 miles per hour. I was actually pretty caught off guard when I saw that, just not being a person that was familiar with that previous speed study.
From one end to the other, though, you can't pass on anywhere. It's double lines the whole way.
Yep.
So you got a double line where you can't even pass at 55 miles an hour. And I appreciate you going and doing the study and looking back at the previous study. But what can we do in the meantime to make sure these people have a chance of getting a good night's sleep without worrying about being killed?
Well, let me jump in there, Drew, to answer some of Mr. Harris's concerns, because I think he's spot on. But one thing I have done on behalf of the county, not only have we spoken, but I've reached out to the new sheriff, and he's willing to put some more speed monitoring on that road. The board may recall, we did a speed study back in 2021. You did a speed study back in 2021. And that's when Greg Rickmeyer was coming here to all the board meetings and saying that Regent Road was dangerous. And I think we're just kind of reinforcing that Regent Road is dangerous. And especially if you look at this very acute curve right here in front of Mr. Means' house, it's pretty drastic. Now, we talked about a few different things. I'd love to see that speed limit lowered. I know that you have to do a speed study and you're constrained somehow, but there's other things, and I just want to throw this out there as well. This is the intersection or the fork in the road. Mr. Means is right over here, and it's a pretty acute curve here, and people will regularly go 60 miles an hour in this curve. I drive this every day. I go that way. If we were to do something, at least this, and take this 35 mile an hour, which is a suggestion, that there is this S-curve coming up ahead of us, and lower that speed down, would that perhaps get the motorist to maybe lower it down a little bit more, or perhaps get some better signage?
So that is one of the things that Lee specifically asked traffic engineer to take a look at with the reevaluation of the speed study on 626, is to actually take a look at what additional signage, et cetera, the department could do.
Yes, sir.
Through there to, assist where we could. So we're looking at all possibilities, all alternatives, et cetera.
But to look at it holistically, and just to get back to the 2021 study, and I think that's probably, it definitely needs to be revisited, because you're talking about like COVID time period where we probably have even less people on the road. This has become a major cut through, as people have alluded to. And, the other issues that were happening on Regent Road were far down Regent Road, so now we've got it at both ends. So this road really needs to be taken a look at, it sounds like, and it sounds like what I'm hearing today. So thank you for your efforts in trying to do something about that.
Any kind of flashing light, run off a solar panel, anything we can do in the interim to
Yeah.
try to help these people,
Okay.
we really would appreciate it.
Understood. Like I said, we will hear back from district engineering, and then
Thank
what
you.
we will do is coordinate with
Thank
Mr. Gentry.
Mr. Crittenden?
I just have one question. I'll get off Regent Road now. I've noticed, as you drive around the state, there's a proliferation of speed cameras and red light cameras popping up just about everywhere. How does that proceed? How does that get started?
So photo enforcement
Right.
is what you're actually referring to.
Right.
And here in Virginia, at least the ones that I'm familiar with, are photo enforcement of
Schools?
Yeah, school zone speed limits. And we have those already in place in the residency area in Gloucester and King William. And literally, it is, both of those counties, the sheriff's office reached out to a consultant. There are kind of two prime consultants in Virginia, one of them being Blue Line Solutions, and I think the other one being like Ultimate. And I can send that stuff to Mr. Gentry to pass out.
And we've
But-
kind of broached the subject with the new sheriff
Yeah,
about
but
potentially doing something
those
like that.
entities basically, they're consulting firms. They kind of work with the sheriff's office, and they work with,
Would the decision to implement a program like that at a school, would that be something that would have to be approved by the board, or is that just a decision that would be made by?
well, ultimately, that comes, same thing with like the golf cart piece, which is, authorizing the county to
An
submit a land
ordinance.
use permit application to VDOT. I mean, really, that's what I look for.
Okay.
So there's a specific land use permit application for photo enforcement of school zone speed limits. And you basically work through the same process like we do with golf carts. We basically work through the signage and the layout and everything else. The county works through like what it needs to with respect to its ordinance and what the penalty's gonna be, et cetera. And then at the end of the day, once we issue a land use permit, signs and/or photo cameras are put up, and then the county, through the ordinance, implements it, and
Good. Okay, thank you.
so it's a fairly straightforward process.
I got one question. Now, we know it's in the schools in Gloucester, but this photo thing, we know it's in the, I see them on 64 too, so that's the interstate.
Yes.
Now, we got a 55-mile speed limit down Regency Road. Can we put a photo down there of somebody speeding? Can that happen?
So what you see on 64 is actually photo enforcement of a work zone. So underneath of Virginia, we're allowed to do, or locality and/or a sheriff's office or a police department is allowed by law to either do photo enforcement of school zones or photo enforcement of a work zone. So not photo enforcement of, I think, just a particular section of roadway with a speed limit. I think the third one that they're allowed to do, and we don't see, I have not personally seen this in the land use arena, is photo enforcement with respect to, like you see in like red light cameras.
Northern Virginia, they don't have it?
They do, but you also have to keep in mind that a lot of Northern Virginia maintains and operates their own roadways, like the cities.
Interesting, because I know it's in Northern Virginia, so I just wonder how it works. It seems like whoever paid for it, I guess, you get it to go. I mean, you know, because we talking about our area in the county that we live, and we get a repeat problem, and I guess we have to talk to, I don't know who to talk to on something like that. We got VDOT now, and you got the sheriff's department. If they don't come through, I don't know. Then in the meanwhile, somebody get killed on somebody been turned something in for 50 times, saying, hey, this is a dangerous road, and we can't do anything.
I will certainly look into it.
Yeah, look into
Share the
it.
information with Mr. Gentry.
That'll be fine.
Share with the board members.
Yes, that'll be fine.
That's not a problem.
Yeah, okay.
Any further questions? Thank you for being here today, because just the report that we would have with nobody here that we can throw questions at or get further answers for whatever particular problem we're talking about, it does help immensely to have somebody here to be able to answer those questions. So thank you very much for that.
You are welcome, Mr. Chairman. I have my homework. Mr. Gentry, I will be in touch.
Good, wonderful.
Thank you. Y'all have a good afternoon.
Thank you for being here. Okay. All right. Always our favorite, the school division. Dr. Sykes, Ms. Mary, come forward and be grilled. Not
Good
really.
afternoon, and what I was going to start with is I have nothing controversial to bring to you today.
Oh, that's wonderful. I'll sleep better tonight.
Only asking for these grants that have been allocated to us to be appropriated. So we're on page 47 in your packet. The top three, Title I and two Title IIIs, it's additional leftover federal funds that the state divides up if they have not been used and appropriated to us. You can see one of those is a whopping 36 cents. And then the next two are grants that we did apply for through the Virginia Department of Education. Both of them are related to mathematics. And so that is what we have for appropriation today.
I have a question before we get to that. The only one that I have at the very end of the page, the fourth out, is that a grant as well? Expense, it's 4-071, and then 061310, 3,900-100, $4,000?
So that is
Oh, it says
the
grant
top-
on the back?
So the top, yeah. So the top is the revenue, and then it shows how we spend it.
I got it.
Yep.
I just didn't, I guess I didn't read the back page.
Nope, that's quite all right.
Which
It-
says
It carried
Purchase
over to the
Service
second
Mathematics
page.
Innovation.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
While he's there, what happens next year with that? I mean, you're getting, it looks like it's a supplemental salary grant and social security grant and service, I guess, as far as retirement or whatever grant.
So at the top is the Title Is and then the mathematics grants. The bottom shows where we use it. And so we'll put it into, it's a one-time use.
Oh.
And it may be a stipend for additional work outside of regular hours, summer work.
So it's not
Parent.
directly changing someone's salary, and then next year it would when I get the grant to change, it doesn't work like
No,
that.
we had to write the grant specifically for the terms of this particular award. And for those two grants, the middle school mathematics grant and the mathematics innovation grant, some of that work is going to happen this summer. And so we're getting the money this year from the state. We're having to appropriate it right now, but then we're going to come to you guys after the fiscal starts to bring it into the new fiscal because the expenses aren't going to happen until the summer.
I would just say we're not raising someone's salary on a grant, then we don't have the grant and blah.
Oh, no, 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 yeah,
No, these
yeah.
are one-time expenses.
Yep,
Yes,
and it's
sir.
great to point that out because that's never a good practice. Yep.
Wonderful. Any other questions? Then a motion would be in order to accept, make a motion on 2026-10.
Also move, Mr. Chair.
So moved by Mr. Williams. Thank you, sir. Mr. Jesse. Damn, it ain't even been a long day yet.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Jesse, and a second by Mr. Bill Harris. Any further discussions or questions? Seeing none, hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Crittenden?
Yes.
Mr. Jesse?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Bill Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Don Harris?
Yes, motion's approved. Thank you, ladies. Anything else?
We have nothing else. As long as you don't have any other questions, we will move on.
I think we're good. Thank you very
Perfect.
much.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, moving right along, item 4C, social services, report only. That's on page 49, I think.
Let me click
If
on
there's
it.
no questions, I'm going to move on to item D.
Well, I think,
What?
do you want to approve, I think I need you to approve the, hold on, I
What?
lost track. The request of waiving of fees. Are we there yet?
No, we
Okay.
haven't gotten there yet. I know it's a long day, right?
Okay, sorry about that.
You
I'm
good?
jumping ahead.
Okay, reassessment update, Jason Cowan.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you.
Welcome. You have the podium.
Thank you, sir. So I'm here to just give a brief update of where we are in the year-long project of the reassessment, and also talk a little bit about the local housing market and the health of it. So we've gone through, I think, all the county except for about 5 or 6 tax maps. So about 75% of the properties we visited. We do plan on making another sweep through the county, mostly just getting parcels we missed, a new construction. The process has been where we encounter a no trespassing sign. We would make a note of that. I'm sure we probably didn't see some and just went ahead and inspected it. But we were asked to keep a list of them, and we're going to turn them into the Commissioner of Revenue, I think, is going to send out a letter asking people if it's okay for us to come on to do the property, get the permission or whatever. So we're gone through most of the county. We still have, like I said, five or six tax maps left. But we do plan on coming back through. And again, the point of that is to catch the new construction, things that have been started but not yet finished before the end of the year. Overall, the project's doing fine, progressing pretty good. We do have a temporary delay for our data entry. Basically just waiting for a new version of the computer system we use. Hopefully that'll get upgraded here in the next couple of weeks. The reason we need to do that is so that we can punch in the land values. The old system, or the old version of the system, didn't support the desired method that we talked about, where there's more than one land line when we're building up the land value. So if you have a 10-acre parcel, typically you have 1 acre at a home site rate or higher rate of, say, $50,000, and the other 9 acres would be at a lower rate. The old computer system, before the upgrade, it couldn't accommodate 2 different rates on a table, so we needed to upgrade that. We don't expect it to cost anything. I haven't heard anything about that. But it doesn't put us back on completing the project.
I got one question before you get in the middle of it. You said like it's one site that you got a 1 acre, a 10-acre plot, and the house is praised with 1 acre. Is that a certain kind? Or how in the other 9 acres of the property is less? I understand that, but it's not appraised as the whole property itself.
Sort of. I actually prefer a different way of making it just have one rate, one higher rate of, say, $10,000 an acre. But when I was talking with the commissioner, she preferred having it broken out because it was easier for her to do her land use work, if I remember correctly. So it's easier on her staff to accomplish it, her workflow. But as far as valuing it, as long as you get to the same total value, it doesn't matter if you use one at a higher rate and the rest at a lower rate, or all of them at the same rate, just a blended rate. The math works out either way. It's just a little bit harder for me to calculate, but it's easier on her, so.
Go ahead, Bill.
You're saying the whole piece of property is gonna come out kind of like the same, but, you may have a piece of property that have marsh on it, and you may have a piece of property that has a Virginia Power right-of-way through it. Is that gonna be taxed as the same thing as an acre that I'm not using for anything other than yard?
No, we do, our plan is to do percentage adjustments.
Excuse me?
Is to do a percentage adjustment for those sorts of things, for marsh and power lines, because it's a nuanced impact, but I'm glad you're asking it, because it does make a difference. So it's less appropriate to have it broken out as a rate. Say marshland at $500 or power land at $2,500 or whatever it is. Because the percentage adjustment makes the most sense. Because where it is, where the marsh and the power line is on the property can have a bigger impact.
Yeah.
So if it's like if the power line just clips the back corner, it may only be a 5 or 10% reduction. But if it comes right through the middle, it could be a 20 or 30% impact of the value.
Or waterfront?
Yeah, or marshland or whatever, yeah, exactly. So the plan is to use a percentage adjustment instead of having a separate rate for the power land or the marshland or.
As you know, we have a lot of waterfront property, but along with that comes a lot of marshland.
Right.
And we don't, a lot of the property owners take care of their property, and they don't want to see the eroding, and that costs them. And
Sure.
for them to have to pay high prices on taxes on marshland and stuff, or the right-of-ways where they can't use it, it's, their value to that right-of-way land is diminished. Greatly diminished what they can use it for. And I think the taxes should show that. What are they doing with the marshland and trying to protect it, So they shouldn't be taxed high on some of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I agree, and the point remains, you're talking more about the merits of having the two different rates now, because once a piece of property is determined to be able to support a house, in particular a waterfront, that's the primary reason. It's capable of supporting a house, so therefore you have the 1 acre at a much higher rate, and the rest of it at a lower rate, because it's kind of residual, kind of just extra land, which may or may not be useful.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Continue.
Okay, yes, sir.
Continue.
Okay, so overall, project is on schedule to finish up in fall. We've done a lot of the heavy lifting as far as figuring out what kind of depreciation tables we want, the building cost rates we want. I did a building cost study where we compared actual new houses that have been recently built and resold, and we determined what the appropriate price per square foot for the new houses and the decks and the garages and that kind of stuff. I think we looked at 7 or 10 new houses to study that. So we got the basic valuation models pretty much set. Just got to punch them into the computer and start crunching numbers, basically. So our next step will be complete the remaining field work, finalize the land valuation tables once we get the new updated version, and then just continue on with data entry and review. So I wanted to kind of just look back at the last time we talked as a reminder. We did an initial going-in ratio study where we basically discussed that the typical residential property should see an increase between 25 and 40%. Again, the results will be tailored based upon the size of the home, the quality of construction, the age of home, and individual property features like waterfront or not, that kind of stuff. So of course, individual assessment increases will vary.
When you say quality of construction, how many different rankings do you have?
5. And again, it's like a report card. A would be really good, C would be average. So we have 5, and then we have some, like a C+, and a D-, that kind of thing.
I'm just trying to find my mind. Let's say you got 25 homes built up down on the golf course, all of them was built about the same time. All of them sold for, let's say, $350,000. So each one of the houses in this area sold for $350,000. What value would you have on this? All the loan you got on it, $350,000, the cost to build $350,000, so everything is $350,000. What is the value of the house that through your assessment?
It should be pretty close to 350,000, based on the preponderance of the evidence. You know, if you have a bunch of sales that are all pointing in the same, price range, then that's where they should be.
So, and I'm talking about new dwellings now, all of them are new. So then, if I had the same house built 10 years earlier, how would the comparison be? Because I might pay $250,000 for my house, and you built an identical house 10 years later, and you paid $350,000 for it. Is there a comparison between the two houses that will be equal? We got a lot of older houses in Middlesex, and we have a lot of new ones. And to be honest with you, I'm seeing some ridiculous prices. I think I mentioned that one time before. So in a comparison, to make sure we got equality taxes or whatever they call it, then the assessment is going to be different in some kind of way. So my question is, an older house that is built identical to a newer house, what is the comparison in the value?
Yes, sir. So the most efficient way of valuing large groups of property is based on the cost approach. So the basic equation for that would be land value plus the replacement cost new minus depreciation. So in your scenario, the one that's 10 years older would have 10, 15% knocked off of it because it's not new.
Okay.
Versus the ones that are brand new or close to new. Because the market does recognize, better condition, brand new versus nearly new, or.
And then I guess you have some limit, because if I keep on taking it off at 10 years, all of a sudden I may have a house 30 years old. And then the value of the same square footage in the house, and probably the one 30 years old is probably built with better quality than the one that just built. But it's 30 years old. You saying the percentages is on the older houses?
Yes, sir,
Are we looking at, are you all looking at the cost? We see, you see, somebody pay $1 million for a house, and we go to the tax assessment office, and the tax only is $500,000. Now, all of a sudden, now you got me in a daze, saying, how can you pay for that price for a house and pay tax on it for $500,000? See, because I mentioned that one time to you before, and that's how come I'm looking at the formula when we start getting together to find out how we're going to increase or decrease tax rates. And if we don't get a real good price of what something costs, then that makes it hard. But once we could get almost exact cost, then we probably could do the percentage thing. So I'm just kind of like wondering where you at in leading that.
Yes, sir.
And I guess I look at the value of my house, I find out how you did that, then I don't know where you're leading at.
Right, yeah. So I didn't do it in this presentation, but the last one, I broke it down a bunch of different ways, and I'll do that same analysis again, so, in even more ways. So we'll look at the sales based on the decade, at least these things, probably more, at least when the decade it was built. So I'll group all the houses that were built in the 70s and see how we are on the values of those. And then the 80s and the 90s and all the decades. Then I'll look at them by story height, where they are in the county, whether they're in a particular subdivision, whether they're on Lover's Lane with golf carts. That's going to add at least 10%.
I find it,
I'm just
pretty
kidding.
interesting because coming out of the 60s, when you could build a house in the early 70s, you could build a house for a song. In the late 70s and going into the 80s, then all them houses that was built in the early 70s probably was at least 3 or 3.5 times the price. Then you leave the 80s and go to the 90s. Then once you pass 90, people got crazy. So in comparison, see, the houses are still old. So I'm just wondering how you're gonna figure it out, because I really have a problem with the overpayment. I'm not gonna say overpayment, people are not paying their fair quality of taxes based on what they think the value is, because that's what they're buying.
Right.
And the bank is saying it is because they do a reassessment on it. And this is what I'm getting. So, hey, man, I want you to see if you can fix that. It'd be some kind of nice if you can.
Well, pay attention. I'm going to tell you, in May, and the state will audit me pretty good. So what you want to look at, and I'll come and talk again, of course, if they invite me back or whatever. But you want to look at something called the PRD. That's called the price-related differential, and that is a statistic that we can run, that May can run, the state can run, and that sees how are your assessments up and down the scale. Are you high on the low-value properties? Are you low on the high-value properties? And you can compute it by the weighted mean over the median ratio, and doing a little bit of math, and it's pretty quick to do. So if it's out of whack, we'll know. But trust me, I'm not going to send the notices out with that being out of whack. So I'm going to do as many statistical measures as I can to make sure that we're not too high or too low on any group of properties. Whether old, new, condominium, townhouse, waterfront, non-waterfront, all those things. And I'll be happy to come in and put the proof in front of you with the sales and all of that. Nothing will be done in the dark.
Hey, two houses that are exactly the same, but one of them is in a flood zone. How do you handle that? I mean, the people in a flood zone are paying some high premiums on for insurance.
Yeah, it's usually, for a waterfront property, it's usually, and you're going to hate to say it.
Not all of them in the flood zone on the waterfront, but yeah, the majority of them are.
It's usually almost no difference.
Really?
I know you're probably going to hate me for saying that.
Yeah. Especially the people are paying, what, $400 or $500 a month
Yeah,
in flood insurance?
because if and I did the math, I thought you might ask me about this, so I did the math when I was back there waiting. So, as we'll talk about a little bit later, typical house price in the county is like $500,000.
What county?
In this county.
We got a problem.
So the typical house price
Ain't Houston either.
and the median household income is like 72,000, 74,000. So then you can do math, where you take the debt to income ratio that mortgage people look at, like 38, it's usually 38 to 42%. So I took the median household income, multiplied times 0.4, and that's what the typical person or family that lives here can afford. 72,000 times 0.4 when they go to get a mortgage. And I did some other math with the typical interest rate of 6%, and it came out that the most likely price point would be like $410,000 or $420,000. So that basically just shows that people from outside are coming and buying property, bringing their money with them to about 20%. Because we'll look at it, the typical prices over the last year, $490,000 or whatever. So, but when you do the math, the housing affordability would show that 420 would be what people could typically afford under the current interest rate environment and all that stuff.
So the appraised value on it would be 400, $420,000, so they buy a house for $420,000, then they know the tax is gonna be somewhere around $400,000 to $420,000.
That's correct.
If you do that, you're gonna solve the problem for the state of Virginia. Now, I don't know how that's gonna happen.
So you don't have any kind of plan for the houses that are in the flood zone?
Yeah, no, so again, you have to look, each piece of property is technically unique.
I got one on a hill on the water and one in the bottom, and the one on the bottom is in a flood zone, and both exact identical house.
Right,
And the one in the bottom's having to pay $400 or $500 a month in insurance to the federal government for flood insurance.
right.
But we don't take that into consideration during an assessment. It
Well,
just seems
no.
odd to me.
You could take it into consideration, but what I'm saying is, it typically, if you're gonna buy a waterfront property, this is gonna sound awful, but what's the extra couple $100 a month? You know, I know, and the proof is in the pudding, like, so, we have to look at the sales for waterfront properties, and the ones that are in the floodplain versus the ones that are not, and is there a markable difference? It may be 2 to 5% difference. But if you can afford a nice waterfront property, a few $100 extra dollars is probably not gonna break the bank. I'm just being honest with you.
There are houses that are in the flood zone that are not on the water as well.
Oh, of course, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And you see, they're older, because I don't think you can currently do that. You know, the older ones were kind of grandfathered in or whatever. So, you know, they still have that value, and they're gonna face additional payment for sure. So, but it's not like a 50% reduction. And like I said, it may be 2 to 5% is what I've typically seen.
You've answered me, thank you.
Yes, sir.
The value of them houses that Bill is talking about is based on the price they're paying for them.
Yes, sir, that's right. Okay, so we'll obviously continue to coordinate with the county finance department. The first budget updates we'll be able to provide them will be like in July, after we've crunched the numbers again and did like what's called a batch update to the values. Did want to talk a little bit about the local real estate market here in the county. We looked at sales from the local Realtors Association, and we also pulled in some data from the federal government. And just kind of giving you an update of the health of the market. Overall, it's pretty healthy. We're looking at months of supply in the month of January over the last 3 years. It's remained pretty stable. You know, it was 3 months, 2024, 2.9, 2025, 3.3. And the main takeaway from this is that it's not spiked up. It's not like 10 months of supply. So what this is kind of showing that when a house comes on the market, it may take, you know, around 90 days or less to be sold. Here, the next one is the average days on market. These are showing, again, 72 days. And over the last, this is probably a happenstance, but in January, over the last 3 years, it's actually come down a little bit. But overall, it's remained stable. And this one, where we're just comparing the median sale price, in '24, it was 338, '25 was 349. January 26, 373. This is just kind of the summary of the metrics, but all of them point to like a reasonably healthy market. This chart shows the federal housing data, and this is for the houses that are in the 230 zip code grouping, so all the zip codes that begin with 230. It shows a steady increase. It started like in 1995 at a value of 100, and it keeps pegging up. Of course, it went down 2008, 2009, and started coming back up 2014. But it shows basically, it's always about a quarter behind being published. It shows basically an all-time high of around 370 on this chart. This one shows just a plot of the trend line of the sales within the county over the last 12 months. And basically the slope of the trend line is positive, which means the market's still edging up. It's not spiking like it was in COVID, right after COVID, but still edging up. So in summary, project's progressing well, on track for completion without the need for an extension. We'll continue to work with the county staff, of course, and summarize, all the data suggests a healthy residential market. I think that's basically it. Unless y'all have questions.
Questions? I have maybe just one.
Yes, sir.
Are you physically having somebody physically view every piece of property out here,
That we're trying to, yes, sir.
correct?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yep, that's our goal. We make what's called a reasonable effort. Sometimes, we encounter no trespassing signs, or dogs that are running loose, or people who just, you show up and they tell you to leave immediately or whatever. But yeah, it's our goal to make a physical inspection of all of them.
Jason, how many or if any do you use drones?
None.
Okay.
We don't use drones, but we do use aerial photography. So we have a custom app on our phone. Anybody can get it. But what's cool about it is you can point to where your location is, and it can tell you which parcel you're on, and you can see an aerial imagery, and you can turn on the floodplain or whatever else. So
Follow-up question, just for my benefit, I guess. When you start a reassessment project, do you start at one wherever that is, Deltaville as an example, and work from Deltaville all the way back this way? Or are you categorizing the houses that you're going to go see based on value being one, large tract of land being another? I'm just curious how that works.
no, we do it, it's already broken down to like kind of what I call bite-sized chunks. We do tax maps.
Okay?
So the county's got, I think, a little bit under 40 or so tax maps. And we started up the northern end, Jamaica, which is one. And basically, somebody a long time ago just laid out a grid, map 1, map 2, map 3,
Okay?
map 4, map 5. So we've done most of that. We haven't finished map 20, which is kind of like where we are now. And then the higher numbers like 38, 39, 40, those kind of things. But typically, we do kind of, assign somebody one map at a time, go do
Gotcha.
this, then come back and do the next one.
I was just curious how that worked.
Yeah. Okay.
Any other questions?
You did say you had to go back and redo something like, they had no trespassing signs. Was that so many? Is it many you got to go back to get permission for?
Yes, I would say a few hundred, but not like
Few hundred?
thousands. Yeah, not thousands, but a few hundred for sure. All right, thank you, guys.
Any other questions? Thank you for coming today and
Yes, sir.
giving us an update. Item E, airport update. Mr. Lewis?
Oh, there we are. She put them up there for me. Makes it even nicer. Good evening, gentlemen. Terminal building update. Mr. Barber called me today. He is anticipating a final walkthrough next week. He's asked the chairman of the Department of Aviation and his number 2 to come down and take a look at it. He's going to invite the board members to come down for the final walkthrough, and I need somebody, because I will be out of town then, to walk through and do a punch list.
Vacation denied. There you go. It's on the record.
Basically, to do a punch list on the airport building. It's really, really a beautiful building. He did a bang-up job. I've always really thought that he would, because that's right next to him, and he's going to sit there and point, I built that building over there, so we know that's going to happen. Fuel dispenser replacement. Good news for the board. I got Titan Fuels on our contract to fund the local share for the fuel dispenser replacement. I ordered that 2 weeks ago. They said 6 to 8 weeks for it to come in. So I expect a new fuel dispenser probably within the next couple of months, probably end of May probably to come in. Paving survey, the Department of Aviation did their paving survey. It's every 6 years they come around and do a paving survey. They take a look at what the runway pavement and the taxiway pavements look like, make recommendations back to the Department of Aviation, and that is the basis for funding for repairs going forward. That was all I really had to talk about this today. Is there anything
What about the
else?
AWAS? What about the AWAS?
AWAS doesn't have to move. That's the big thing on that one. The FAA came back and said the AWAS did not have to move. It was high enough. For some reason, we built a 40-foot antenna instead of a 35-foot antenna, and that gave us enough clearance over top of the new terminal building to not be affected by it.
So, Richard, I'm sorry, could you just say that again? Because I didn't hear like the applause that I thought you and I both were going to hear. Was there something about not costing the county more money, but somebody else is going to pick up the local share?
The contract that we negotiated
Yeah.
with Titan had a $10,000 unrestricted airport grant.
And so the county won't have to, I guess what I was going for is that we're going to get, what is it called, a new fuel dispenser?
Yeah, a $17,000 fuel dispenser.
Thank you. But we're not paying.
We're not paying a penny. Between the state and the Titan.
We're not spending local tax dollars. How about that? We're spending our state dollars.
Yeah, between the state.
Thank you, Ms. Lewis.
I just wanted to.
I was going to hit it at the end.
Okay, I mean.
Which my comment was going to be, you're doing a great job in understanding the dynamics of this board and what we like and what we don't like.
I mean, I thought that was a real treat after the last presentation.
It is.
And we've still got, let's see, I've spent about.
Richard, I put you in
Right, we've spent about, I used $1,600 of that money to repair the fuel payment center, put a new screen on that, and this $5,000 or $6,000 on that left. So we've got about another, $3,000, $4,000 left to move forward with that.
Great job. Go ahead,
Uh,
Mr. Curtin.
This is, I mean, I've been out there, this is just a beautiful building. The airport itself is really looking great. The only thing is that there's no sign out there saying, this is our airport.
My wife keeps on telling me that too, that we need to get a nice sign put up on that. And I know I can get a state grant for that. So if that's something that you would like me to pursue, I will be more than happy to write up the grant paperwork for that.
I think it'd be great. When I came over there to visit the first time, couldn't decide which driveway to go down just to get there, so.
We've got a very small sign out there, but it doesn't say a whole lot. But, if that's something the board wishes me to do, I'll be more than happy to solicit bids and,
Do you have to, on applying for that grant, do you have to give a location of where it would be or not?
we'll have to do that, yeah.
You will?
Yeah, we'll have to figure out where we're gonna put it, because I've got to get a bid from contractors to put the sign in and whatever landscaping they want to put around it, because it'll cover landscaping and the sign.
Okay.
So if that's something the board wishes me to do, I'll be more than happy to sit there and fill that grant out, do that grant paperwork.
It sounds like you have a consensus from the board. I take all the head nodding to move forward with that, please.
I would look into it. I just have the reason I asked you was that where you put it might have to need some further discussion.
Right, I understand that. I mean, I expect a small sign on 33 or 3, and then
Gotcha.
maybe the large sign, say, go down this road and coming down, and then one right by the airport, coming into it.
Yeah, I'd say look into it and see what kind of cost is involved with that, and then we can chisel it down to where it may go at some point in the size of the sign. But we'll leave that, you're doing such a great job, we'll leave that up to your
All right, and I do know
ingenuity.
that the county has received inquiries on the old terminal building, and I've answered a bunch of questions back on that to make that go away, but, so that, we've got to wait on Austin Electric to come in and move the computer equipment that's in the old terminal building and the radio that's in the old terminal building to the new terminal building before we can vacate the old terminal building. So,
Got you. Wonderful. Thank you, sir. Everybody good? Okay. Bay Transit update. Ms. Cunningham,
Hello,
how are you?
I'm great. How are you all?
We're doing pretty good.
This is our first time meeting, so thank you for welcoming me. This isn't really a state of Bay Transit update, more than just we wanted to reach out and publicly or, My name is Donna Cunningham. I'm the operations specialist at Bay Transit in Warsaw. And thank you again for letting me speak today. I won't request too much of your time. First and foremost, we'd like to express our gratitude for your support of Bay Transit and our mission to provide transportation to all people for all reasons over the years. Your support is instrumental in enabling us to deliver the exceptional level of service that we have been able to provide your residents. Further, I would like to acknowledge the reconsideration and reinstatement of level funding into the budget for FY '27 to support both vehicles within Middlesex County. Upon learning of the potential service disruptions, we did discuss this with some of our riders to get their responses. And I've actually compiled some packets of the responses and some photos that I'd like to distribute to you after I'm finished, if that's okay. Bay Transit facilitates approximately 10,000 trips annually within Middlesex County. Notably, about 70% of those trips are for work or employment purposes, 13% for retail activities, and the remainder for education and healthcare, and a lot of that is predominantly dialysis patients. These trips in particular hold a profound personal significance to me, as I've personally relied on Bay Transit myself for transportation. So a little quick story, not to get sappy, but my father was a diabetic who underwent a leg amputation. And we have a vehicle, but it is extremely hard to try to, my dad was like 6'3", almost 300 pounds. So he was a big guy. It was extremely hard to get him in and out of my vehicle. But with one leg, we managed to do it. But then he lost his second leg, and we had no choice but to either buy a $80,000, $90,000 wheelchair accessible vehicle or turn to Bay Transit. My father attended dialysis 3 days a week riding Bay Transit, eliminating the need for me to worry about transportation and ensure I could maintain my employment. Moreover, he developed a deep appreciation for the drivers who showed him exceptional care. I emphasize this perspective as a customer who has directly benefited from this service, not as a Bay Transit employee. Other riders shared our sentiments. One rider, and I'm not going to say his name, but he is in here, has been riding with us for about 2 years, and he said he would not be able to hold a job and support his family if we did not provide him transportation to get back and forth to work. I am grateful for this service, he states. Another rider stated that he was confined to a wheelchair and depends on Bay Transit to get him to doctor's appointments, Walmart, Food Line, wherever he needs to go. Without Bay Transit to depend on, he wouldn't be able to leave his house. This service has become such a lifeline for so many residents in Middlesex County. In recognition for your unwavering support over the years, which has enabled Bay Transit to serve countless residents, we extend our heartfelt gratitude. Thank you so much.
Questions? I have one. Out of the whole service area that Bay Transit services.
Yes.
You dropped the number of 10,000. I thought it actually was a little less than that, but
It's like 9,600. So
okay.
it's-
Middlesex County, or give me the largest area, because y'all cover Gloucester
Yeah,
and
Gloucester would,
Warsaw, or
yeah.
Tappahannock.
yeah, in Tappahannock, well, do you want Gloucester or Warsaw?
I want
Tappahannock.
both of them.
Gloucester, I can't remember the number of Gloucester right off the top of my head. I could get that and get back to you. But I know total last year was 131,000 throughout the 12 counties and 2 towns that we serve.
Okay, so we're approximately 10% of the
Yeah.
total exposure,
Yeah.
correct?
Yes.
Okay. And not to get into your business too far, but what's the contribution effort from your other counties for Bay Transit?
They're all doing the local match.
Okay? Okay. Wonderful. Any other questions? Thank you for being
Thank
here
you.
today. Okay, Ms. Lewis on Water Code Ordinance Discussion, page 7073. Oh, where'd she go? She tried to
just
sneak out
stepped
on us?
away.
Okay, well.
Would you like to
then
skip to the next
Let's
item?
skip to B and we'll come back to A.
Okay.
Um,
UMFD.
This is a fee waiver for UMVFD. Miss Anne Marie.
The Upper Middlesex Volunteer Fire Department up at Waterview is installing a 12 by 20 outdoor shed to store lawnmower and fundraising supplies. When they were advised by the zoning department that they were going to have to pay a $50 zoning fee, they were also notified that the board may waive that fee for our fire departments. So they're here today, well, I'm here on their behalf, I reckon, to request that their $50 zoning permit fee be waived.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we waive the fee for that building permit.
Okay, I'm trying to find the, I don't know, I must have missed that somewhere in my booklet.
I'll second it. It's on page 74. It's on the back, on the left side.
Thank you very much. Okay, so the motion is to waive the fee for the Upper Middlesex Volunteer Fire Department of $50. The motion's been made by Mr. Jesse, the second's been made by Mr. Crittenden. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Jesse?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Bill Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Crittenden?
Yes.
Mr. Don Harris?
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion's approved.
Oh, next one.
Yes.
That's me. You all, may I?
FY 20, let's continue on, FY 20. Okay, let's hold off on that,
Hold off
and
on
we're
that
going
one.
back up.
Apologies. I
problem.
had something I couldn't
Um,
avoid.
We skipped over one item and came back to Water Code Ordinance Discussion, item A under regular agenda items, and Ms. Lewis, what you got to tell us?
Well, I've got a team here to work, to present this to you tonight. So we've got Dave Kretz here with me, and I've also got Greg Chambers and Chip England. I don't think anyone else in the audience is here for me on this one. But as the board will recall, this is part of that project where the board wished to have the entire county designated as an exclusive service district for the water authority, excluding the town of Urbana and current private water company, Aqua. And so there's multiple steps to this, and we're now down to the last 2 steps. We need to amend our comprehensive plan to reflect within that plan the service areas. But then we also need to actually adopt an ordinance as required by code by the board. So we've already addressed it in zoning and subdivision. And so this really isn't anything new per se, it's just another piece of the paperwork puzzle in order to achieve the goal that the board wanted. So with that, there's a draft ordinance in your packet. I welcome any comments you may have or questions. But what we are asking for is that you please send it to public hearing at your May meeting. Now, it does need to go at your May meeting because we have a timeline here, and we're trying to get this accomplished before Mr. Kretz is officially retired. So the May deadline is pretty tight. So that's what we're asking for. Chip, Greg, or Dave, is there anything else that you'd like to say that I didn't say? Okay. So we're happy to answer your questions. If there are none, then I'm just asking for a motion to have it scheduled for public hearing in May, please.
Okay,
With that motion.
we need a motion for that? Okay,
How you want
I
the
just
motion?
have one question, and I can ask it after the motion's been made. Just to better educate people, this ordinance gives the county more control of how water is distributed other than the town of Urbana and/or anybody else that may want to come in to, like a Aqua in the future.
Yes, sir. And it's with that in mind, the previous county administrator, before he hit his retirement date, there's a theme here, he had a really good recommendation in the whereas paragraphs that I did incorporate. And in the first whereas, you'll see that the purpose of this is in order to maintain local control over a valuable resource. And that's a really simple phrase. I didn't put too many legalese in it, but it's a powerful statement because that is in fact what the board is trying to do. Is the idea that we're trying to ensure that this valuable resource, that this board actually has a say in it, not a third private party out, big equity firm or something like that. So again, this is not saying anybody has to connect or anything like this. This is truly this is part of the legal process where we do have to officially declare the county a service district for the water authority exclusively. So,
How does
yes.
how does the motion need to read?
just a motion to direct that the water code ordinance be advertised and set for a public hearing at the May meeting.
So moved.
Thank
So
you.
moved by Mr. Bill Harris,
Second.
second by Mr. Crittenden. And you can defend that ordinance if it ever comes to that. You feel comfortable about that,
Yes, sir.
huh?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I do.
It's pretty much standard throughout.
I did, yes. Sometimes there's some safety in not reinventing the wheel. So I really have to give a shout out to Chip as well. He kicked the ball off for us, and we've been very careful to exclude the current providers. And so that's why I feel so comfortable. I think that if we weren't so vocal about that part, I'd have different feelings, but
Right.
and Larry's here too. I know he's not here as the official town council, but we did notify the town as well. So,
Wonderful.
So we've notified the other water providers in the county, all of them, that
we were required with the comprehensive amendment.
Good.
But Dave Kretz has been in contact with the town manager, and I know he's been communicating as well. And I believe the water authority has been notified as well and given a draft. But through the comp plan amendment, that process will be coming to you in May as well. We actually had to notify adjoining localities. So we notified the town, everybody. But yes, sir, we did. We wanted to be a good neighbor to the
you
town.
notified Aqua then as well.
We were not required to notify them.
We're not required to, okay.
It's interesting, the code said locality. Yeah, I know. So try to follow the code as best we
Follow
can.
along.
Yeah, right?
Good, good.
But I have no doubt that they know about it.
Any further questions or discussion? If not, the motion's on the floor and has been seconded. Roll call, please.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Bill Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Crittenden?
Yes.
Mr. Jesse?
Yes.
Mr. Don Harris?
Yes. All right. Wonderful, wonderful. And I think Bill brought the discussion up, however long ago it was, and I think everybody involved, Water Authority, Council, administrator, everybody has worked very well to protect us long-term into the future. So thanks, everybody, for that, for sure.
Mr. Kretz, is there anything I missed that you think we need to add? Sorry, before we move on.
If I could come up just for a
Yes,
second.
sir, please. Sorry.
I just wanna-
I didn't see you hiding back over there.
No, sir, I just wanted to let the board know that this coming Thursday, the planning commission will consider the comp plan amendment. So that puts us on schedule for hopefully we'll get through that process okay. And then it puts us at the same night doing the water code and the comp plan amendment for this portion. And the comp plan amendment, the ordinance and this water code kind of sit at the side, and they both kind of, best way I could describe it, they kind of ping off the, off the comprehensive plan. That's kind of the balancing point that they need to connect to. So you should be reviewing two ordinances next month.
Got you.
Thank you for covering all the bases. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yep.
That's all I have to say. I just wanted to update the board on that portion.
Well, and thank you again for your support and getting this squared away for us as well.
Yeah, we've been working on it for a little while.
I know you have.
And the goal is to get it right, so.
Right.
Trying to dot all the i's and cross all the t's, so that's the big thing.
Wonderful. Thank you,
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Kretz. Okay, we're going to move on down to audit budget supplement request, page 75, 76.
Thank you. This is a budget adjustment moving, now this is going to sound weird, $3 million from the general fund to the CIP fund. This was actually asked for, as you recall, and you may have seen this, and I think Matt alluded to it at a prior meeting, in the auditor's fund balance notification to you all, that they needed us to move $3 million from the general fund to the CIP fund. In the audit, these two funds are usually combined, so you don't normally see that one of the funds is out of balance. But last year, and at every other year, the auditors have always moved the cash needed from the general fund to the capital fund without any action from staff. Last year, they asked staff to do that, so now I'm asking you to do it. Like I said, normally they have done this for us. I appreciate that they're telling me to do it now. I like it better this way. So how you're going to see it in your financial reporting from now on is you'll see in your line items, you actually see transfer to capital improvement fund. We've never actually done that. It's always just been a cash transfer from one to the other. What you'll see now is an expense from the general fund and a revenue showing in the capital projects fund. Again, nets to zero in your general government funds. Nets to zero, you already have this accounted for in all of your budgets and in all of your audits. It's just, when I tried to make this transaction based on their letter, which is on page 76, the accounting system says, no, you need a budget for that. So I'm like, yeah, that's right, we do need a budget to do this $3 million transfer.
Are you restricted on doing this transaction to, and I know there's figures on this capital improvement plan, this may be this amount, this amount, this amount. So can we move those funds back to the general fund, or do we have to spend it out of the CIP?
These were already spent, these are last year's. So this
Okay.
is a last year's figure.
Okay.
So you actually already did this.
Okay.
Now, what I'm doing for the current year, that's a great segue, because what I'm doing for the current year is at the mid-year, I moved 50% of the budget. So I did it, actually followed the budget, expended out of the general fund, I hit expense by the half of what the transfer was and put half of it into the CIP fund. And then at year end, I'll true it up. So again, this is now my inspiration to, in my opinion, start doing it the right way. But unfortunately, we had to, like I said, I just hated to have to come to you to say it $3 million because it sounds like it's a lot of money, but you've already spent it, it was already appropriated.
Okay, wonderful, thank you.
With this change, right now, we have a fund balance, and we have stuff earmarked in there, or place marked. Now, if we're going to start utilizing and putting stuff in the CIP, which I agree with, how will that make our fund balance look?
Fortunately, in this case, the number that Matt used for the, when he gave you your budget spreadsheet that shows where all your money is going to be, that already took this number into consideration, because the auditor's number, which again is on page 75, is the number that Matt was using. So they took the whole general fund unappropriated fund balances for this.
Going forward, our fund balance, though, has a chance of looking different. If some of the things that are place marked in our fund balance, to me, really should be, that money should be in a CIP. Do you think there's any chance in changing that, or that will change with this?
It doesn't, this doesn't do that.
Okay.
But I'm kind of following your logic,
Right.
and I'm trying to see whether or not that's something that should be
We'll
done.
take it under advisement then, how's that? We'll talk about it later.
I like that, because you're basically setting up a real line item reservation.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, I probably should do that. Some of those are, some of those are
I mean,
already
it
set
gives,
up as a
it gives-
reservation.
to me, it's a little bit of transparency there for the public too, because they can look at our CIP projects, they can see the kind of money and stuff, I mean, it's,
I like seeing it in the audit, and that's why
well,
you
they're
didn't
gonna get it in the audit, because the
Yeah.
CIP is part of the whole budget
Yeah.
process. But anyway, thank you.
Anyway, Ben, I apologize for this not being done. I should have done this probably back in December when I first got this letter, but I'm like, I'm not gonna do that. I don't want to do that, but I had to do it, so. So I'm looking for a motion to approve this.
Motion for 2026-011 for the movement that just was explained by Ms. Riccardi.
So move.
So moved by Mr. Crittenden. Looking for a second.
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Jesse. And any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Bill Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Crittenden?
Yes.
Mr. Jesse?
Yes.
Mr. Williams? Mr. Don Harris, thank you.
Yes, motion is approved. Okay. Our favorite EDA person.
Me being left-handed, I'll say that's a left-handed compliment, being the only,
It is sorta.
so it's nice to be, but I appreciate the sentiment, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Funkhauser, you have the podium, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and members of the board. The first item is just a general for your information type of thing. I know Mr. Harris, one or two meetings ago, as well as some other members of the board, had asked for an update, as well as a few staff members that we've discussed it. So what you have before you that was included in the agenda package is the three primary projects, and this is just literally a brief summary. Y'all should have received an email from me after discussing it with the county administrator. Rather than cluttering up your agenda, you received complete applications for the Preservation Trust Fund, which I'll touch on in a moment, and the build application. But the three primary components of the project access property, as you might recall, are the commercial and recreational boat ramp facilities. That's the build application. We hope to receive that, but if we don't, we'll have to work on some other ones. The second one is the waterfront park, which is the smaller, like 1.18 acre piece, whatever it is, 1.12. There's a couple different, anyway. So we're pursuing an application with the Preservation Trust Fund, and then an application to be submitted is for the centerpiece, if you will, that fronts on General Plur Highway. Does not have water frontage, but we are looking to develop waterfront, Marine Industries Commerce Park, as well as workforce training facilities and services for marine-related industries. That will be the subject of a Go Virginia grant that the EDA will be considering at its April 13th meeting. I'm meeting with some of their staff, the Go Virginia staff, later this week to fine-tune that. It is just a planning grant. So staying with that one for a moment, I'll get you information on that once it's been submitted. That would not, again, it's just a planning study. It would not provide any funds to recoup any of the costs for the land, and it would not provide any funds for actual development or construction of buildings or seed money for services or anything like that. An advisory committee has been selected. Those are required as part of the Go Virginia planning grants, and hopefully that will lead to an actual implementation study. So that's what we're working on now. But going back to the build application, what I tried to do was, again, keep this simple and just provide the key application dates. We did submit an application on the 24th, and I used the term "we" loosely. While I was involved in Mr. Anton Weber and Mr. Hyman, that was a cooperative effort to work with the Middle Planning District Commission. We greatly appreciate being able to ride the coattails that the county has paid for as far as Claire Vaughn. She has done a great job on this and other projects we have worked with her on. The awards are expected in June of '26. And if we're awarded anything, we've got 5 years to spend that money. I put a note down here to say, yes, the awards are expected June 28th of '26. But the 3 applications that the county submitted for Carlton Road, Mill Landing, Stampers Bay, and the Whiting Creek Landing, those award notices were expected at the end of December last year, and we haven't heard anything from the feds. So we're not holding our breath, but we're hopeful on those 3 applications, and then, of course, the EDA's application. The Preservation Trust Fund application is a little bit more simple. This area has been discussed by county staff and the EDA as being some sort of waterfront park observation area, possibly a kayak launch, that type of thing. This grant would provide, we applied for up to $200,000. We're going to get an appraisal that's also paid for by the grantor if we are awarded funds. So we're pretty hopeful on this one. There would be a conservation easement involved that limits development on the property, but we didn't plan to really develop that with anything any way other than stormwater facilities or something else with the balance of the property. So hopefully that will recoup some funds towards the note that we owe the county. So, again, the deadline on that was March. And so that was completed. Mr. Hyman and I worked on that. Awards are expected in June of '26. And even though there's a 2-year performance period, we've already have the property in hand, so that cuts a lot of time off the usual work that's involved. And again, it's just an appraisal and recording an easement. And we will, of course, work with the county attorney and anybody else we have to get that done properly. So I'll stop right there. I don't know if you have any questions or comments or anything else I need to address regarding our mutual interest in these efforts at that property.
I don't want to get into the weeds too deep, so something very brief would be nice. I noticed the construction grant does not provide funds for recouping land cost.
Right.
But the Preservation Trust Fund, I guess, does.
That's pretty common for the Preservation Trust Fund, and you might have heard of the Land and Water Conservation Fund.
Yeah.
Some of you might be aware, I'd worked on a similar project up in Essex that didn't come to fruition for other reasons, but they were awarded approximately $1 million to acquire property, and you could put a conservation easement on all or some of it, and they would pay you for the value of that easement. Again, they were going to reserve some commercial uses, but this is a small piece of property. That was a marina property, different thing. But some grants, very few of them, will provide funds to recoup your land
Gotcha.
acquisition cost.
Did you say very few of them?
Very few of them. Build grants do not provide any funding for land
I could have sworn
acquisition.
when we were talking all this through this at the start, that if the EDA held the land, it'd be one of the pluses, that they'd be able to get grants to pay for the land.
We can. We'll still apply and we'll still pursue those. But for example, if we don't get this build application and we have to apply to the Virginia Land and Water Conservation Fund or the Preservation Trust Fund, we just want to be very cautious on that ramp property about limiting the uses that can occur there. So
I can understand that.
still
I can
possible,
understand that.
and we'll
Well,
still look at that.
Let's
but-
cut it to the chase. You may not have the exact figure, but
That's fine.
how many grants are we currently pursuing to pay for the land?
2.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, 1. Yeah, excuse me, 1.
Can we get back to 2?
We can get back to 2 after we figure out what's going on with this build grant.
Okay.
Because the build grant is actually very favorable in terms of infrastructure cost. So while we're focused on acquiring land acquisition monies and trying to reimburse ourselves as much as we can, it's still going to be very expensive to develop that property. So this is step 1. Several of my EDA members realized very quickly that construction funds are very, very, very competitive. And if anybody looks at those build grants, a A lot of planning and study money goes out the door, but that's still very competitive, so we're, again, waiting to see here. So the planning won't interfere with applying for another grant to actually recoup land cost if we can. The same thing with the Go Virginia grant. It's a study grant to see if it's feasible to have a a marine industries commerce park and some workforce training facilities. But of course, that feasibility study is also going to put a price tag on what it's going to take to develop. Implementation's great. Maintaining that and keeping it going is going to be a challenge. So that's a little bit.
I'd say we have a lot of talent on the EDA, including yourself. And I'm very excited about seeing a boat ramp going down in there, because that's where it all started. And I'm very excited about seeing the land paid for.
Right.
Thank
No, I
you.
appreciate it. Anything else, gentlemen?
Continue on.
To the next agenda item? I don't have anything else on this one unless you have other questions or comments.
No, I'm good on that one.
Okay. Then where are we at? Lease, I believe.
Yep, lease.
Okay. Lease is fairly straightforward, but this also gets back to grant writing. So a couple years ago, I applied for a SAMS number. The county has one. I believe the PDC has one, the Planning District Commission. We have our own employer identification number, and of course, the county does. But when I applied for a SAMS number, and that's required to get federal grants, when I applied, I was summarily rejected because we have a PO box, and they didn't know that we existed. So we didn't have a utility bill. It's kind of like applying for anything, a driver's license or a passport or anything. If you don't physically exist and you can't prove it to them, then you're rejected. So, and the private sector firms, as well as the public sector, need these SAMS numbers to get, again, grants or other monies associated with federal agencies. So it's a nice vetting process, but, who likes to be rejected? So it hasn't been an urgent thing until we started discussing the build grant. And so in brief, I asked the county attorney to draw up a lease. We'll see if that's sufficient to make application and get a number. All that is another tool in our toolbox. If the county applies for something and we want to support the county, we write a letter. If we want to apply for something under our number and the county or some other localities want to support it. So it's just all part of the grant application process and increasing our eligibility options.
Okay, so we would need to take action on the lease, which Ms. Lewis had a part in putting together.
Oh, yes, sir, I drafted it. So we already have this really with the EDA and an MOU,
Right.
which Trent tried to give to the federal agencies, and that wasn't sufficient. So pretty much I just took that and added some more legalese that I thought, well, maybe that'll impress them. And it is no more, no less. It is just memorializing the relationship that already exists.
Right.
So we are looking for a motion to approve the lease.
And I have one question about the lease.
Sure.
I think that must have been a typo error. It says, talking about the payment, is that $10,000 a month? Is that what that is?
It is a typo. My apologies. I just closed the budget gap. You're welcome.
I would plead equity and fairness. And what are you charging them with?
Right, I know.
Okay, continue on with the motion, please.
So it would be a motion to approve and authorize the chairman to sign a lease between Middlesex County and the Economic Development Authority.
So, I so move.
So
Thank
moved
you.
by Mr. Jesse.
Second.
Thank you, sir. Second by Mr. Bill Harris. Any further discussion? Don't hear none, doesn't see none. Roll call.
Mr. Crittenden?
Yes.
Mr. Jesse?
Yes.
Mr. Williams? Mr. Bill Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Don Harris?
Yes, the lease agreement has been approved.
Thank you very much.
What else you got?
Last but not least, hopefully this is simple, but you never call the game too soon. Jackie Davis with the Bay Workforce Investment Board. It has a much longer, better name, but Bay Consortium. But anyway, they're doing a charter change. These are the kind of folks that are headquartered in Warsaw that work throughout the region. But we're basically dropping, when I say we, again, I use the term loosely, this is all by mutual agreement. The Eastern Shore is going to join a different workforce group, and then we're going to pick up Gloucester, And I think that will help strengthen the regional identity and kind of let the Eastern Shore focus on its thing, and they don't have to travel so far. And likewise, when they host meetings of the current membership, so everybody loves the Eastern Shore, but nobody likes to travel either way unless they have to, for recreation or business. So again, this would just simply add Gloucester and drop the Eastern Shore. And again, that would be authorizing the chairman, because the governing bodies of the localities need to make those decisions. So this is just us asking on behalf of Jackie Davis, the director.
And with those changes, we're being asked from Middlesex County to approve the updated charter.
Yes, sir.
Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Any further questions?
Is it, has Gloucester agreed to this?
Oh, yes. Yes, yes. Yeah, Jackie wouldn't have done this on a wish and a hope and a dream, but I understand your question, sir. And the Eastern Shore has too, by the way. We're not just kicking them to the curb. This was all planned and discussed long before I ever appeared here.
Okay, so a motion would be in order for approval of the updated charter with the attachment from Ms. Davis' proposed charter. That's in your book.
How you gonna word that? Updated EDA charter?
Bay
Is that all we
Consortium.
need?
It should be the updated charter with the Bay Consortium Local Workforce Development Area.
Yep.
Okay, wonderful.
Thank
So
you.
moved.
So moved by Mr. Bill Harris,
Second.
second by Mr. Crittenden. Any further questions or discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Mr. Jesse?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Bill Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Crittenden?
Yes.
Mr. Don Harris?
Yes, motion is approved. Mr. Funkhauser, what do you
Thank
got
y'all.
now?
That's it, sir, unless you have any other
That's
questions
it?
or comments. 3 easy things, I hope.
Well,
Well, maybe not.
the only question I got is, are you pleased with the progress that we're making on Project Access?
Oh, indeed,
Okay,
indeed. And we've got some other things working with staff that'll come out at a later date that hopefully are promising, but we'll see. You know,
good.
just,
You're doing-
y'all
you're
are doing
it.
great things at the airport. We're trying to figure out some other things we could do and some of the other properties. So there's some things in progress. We'll see what happens.
Wonderful.
Yep.
You're doing a great job. Thank you
Thank y'all
very
very
much.
much. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, could we have a 5-minute break?
Yes. We will take a,
I've been sitting here a while.
we're going to take a 6.5-minute break.
Stretch your legs.
A what? Yeah, I will. I'd like to reopen the Board of Supervisors meeting. And with that, we're going to go right to Anne Marie on citizens' appointments.
Thank you. Missing from your packet is a group of papers that are dropped in front of you that has, that is related to the Water Authority. There's two things. There's a list of the Water Authority, plus the two citizens that applied for positions that were accidentally excluded from your packet. So what I'm here today to ask you, and first of all, in front of you, it's just, their names are Nancy Ingram, and for Nancy, there's no citizen board available for her at the moment. Bradley Neeson, on the other hand, was interested in working with the Water Authority. After we reached out to Chip and to Greg followed up with a phone call to Mr. Neeson to make sure that he was indeed interested in being on the Water Authority. So at this time, with the application in front of you, Mr. Neeson would be interested in being appointed to the Water Authority. He is a U.S. Coast Guard Academy graduate, served 26 years on active duty with the Coast Guard, with more than 5,000 flight hours in multiple rotary and fixed-wing aircraft. So anyway, he's got a lot of worldly experiences and is interested in being on our Water Authority.
A motion would be in order to accept Mr. Neeson for the Water Authority.
I think we all, a while back, we decided that before we start making nominations on the boards and authorities, that it was up to one of us to meet with them, talk with them, so forth and so on. I have met with this gentleman a couple times. He is very eager to help Middlesex out in any kind of way, and I think he's the kind of person that if something extra comes along where he can help other than the Water Authority, I think he would try to do that too. I think he'd be a good appointment for us to get on the Water Authority. I think he'd be an asset to helping Middlesex out.
Are you making a motion for that, Mr. Harris?
I'd like to make a motion to put Mr. Bradley, how do you pronounce his last name?
I said Neeson.
Neeson on the Water Authority. Excuse me.
I think he's following via the computer, so if we got it wrong, he can let me know if I'm spelling it, if I'm pronouncing it wrong.
Sometimes I can't pronounce my own name.
Okay, motion by Mr. Bill Harris to add Mr. Neeson to the Water Authority. I need a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Crittenden. Thank you, sir. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
Mr. Bill Harris.
Yes.
Mr. Crittenden.
Yes.
Mr. Jesse.
Aye.
And Mr. Don Harris.
Aye. Motion's approved. Is the Water Authority going to contact him, or are you going to contact him, or who's going to contact him?
I can give him a call.
Why don't you do that? That'd be,
And I'll alert the rest of the.
as Assistant County Administrator is so overworked, I'd appreciate it greatly that you'll help us with that. Okay,
We do appreciate help. Thank you.
wonderful. All right, moving right along. Administrative updates. Cigarettes tax is page 90 in your booklet. Staff report only is 91 to 103. And revised budget calendar, FY '27, that's on 104. And
Yes, sir.
I just have a question on the calendar. So, we have a budget work session, I'll call your attention. We have a regular board meeting on May 5th, but on May 4th, we have a budget work session at 9 a.m. So you got to flip-flop those dates a little bit, because it listed this before, the board meeting, which is on the 5th, to the May 4th budget work session.
Meetings back to back?
Yes, Monday and Tuesday, and then ads to be provided to the local newspaper on Tuesday, May 5th, which is going to happen, I guess, the same day as our...
May 7th. You talking about for the newspaper?
Ads to be
Right, we put-
provided to local newspaper by Tuesday, May 5th,
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's when I have to advertise it by.
Sorry about that.
Yep.
okay? And then... Okay. And then we got a couple of 7 o'clock meetings on May 21st and May 28th for deliberation and revisions of the county budget.
May 7th and May 21st.
May 21st and then May 28th. Okay?
So, Mr. Chairman, this does require action, and we are asking action tonight, as you know. And I know, Kevin, you had some things you wanted to say, so I'll just stop there, but.
I think he's covered it.
Oh, okay. As you know, this is a change schedule from previously, and this is, again, another change to your budget, so we need to make sure that we're getting ahead of telling everybody, getting it posted, and et cetera. But in order to meet our deadlines, we're asking you to adopt. This will meet our
To
required.
adopt now, the additional revised budget,
Calendar is presented in your April 7th board packet,
correct?
assuming you guys are available. But we need you to be here, but we are asking for action.
Okay.
That's May when?
4th, 5th,
May 4th and 5th.
21st.
Yeah,
and
it's,
28th.
yeah, there's quite a few in there, Reggie. And I guess I should also give the last caveat. Of course, this is all contingent on the state meeting their deadlines that they've said they're going to meet. But let's cross that bridge if we need to. We're going to be hopeful.
Well, and hopefully we won't have to revise it again, but you guys have the revised calendar. So we need a motion to approve the revised
Budget calendar is
budget development calendar,
as presented in your April 7th Board of Supervisors packet.
okay?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Jesse,
Second.
second by Mr. Bill Harris. Seeing no objection, roll call, please.
Mr. Bill Harris,
Yes.
Mr. Crittenden,
Yes.
Mr. Jesse.
Aye.
Mr. Williams. Mr. Don Harris.
Yes. Okay, the revised budget development calendar has been approved. All righty. County attorney update.
I don't want to jump, but did the new county administrator have anything additional to add before I go to mine?
No.
Okay, good. I just put them on the spot for confirmation. Okay. Nothing outside of my, well, actually, I do have one thing. I am leaving to go to I have a conference twice a year for local government attorneys. We travel around the state, we stay within the state, but I'm most eager for this one, the spring one, because it has a legislative update. And so there's a lot coming down the pipeline, so I hope to learn about all the new things that we'll be anticipating that we'll be required to do. But it's always a really interesting conference. There's also quite a few presentations on affordable housing and the federal requirements and state requirements that are coming out. So I'm looking forward to that. I will be at that Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So if I don't answer when you call, that's why. But I'll get back to you as soon as I'm done with class.
My opinion is that's pretty important.
Yes.
Particularly this year, because there have been some changes from the legislature, of what doesn't now have to come before the planning commission or
Yes,
the
sir.
board of supervisors for particular approvals.
Yes, sir. I think Dave Kretz and I both literally sent each other emails going, oh my goodness, did you see this? I'm laughing because it's better than crying. But yes, no, there really is quite a bit that is, it's a really fast-moving target. So I'm so thankful for my organization. They condense it down and they try to highlight things that they know are really important to local governments. Zoning, for instance, they'll highlight some of those bills. So, and it's my practice to take that information and I assimilate it to the county employees, the department heads, and I highlight where I think things are important that they need to know. But I'm really blessed to have, like I said, Dave and Mark both, we've been messaging, like, do you see this bill? And because there is some big stuff coming, a lot of by right changes in zoning that we won't have a say over, that the public may view as controversial or maybe not, but the authority's being taken from you, and the state saying you don't get a say, so. Anyway, I am really, sometimes I'm more interested than other times, and I think this one's gonna have a lot of things, like, for example, battery storage is a hot topic. I don't know where that legislation ended, but last I heard, it was gonna be by right wherever you have solar fields. So,
That's one, I think, and just not to belabor it
yeah.
too long, but I think also solar fields, we'll have no say in that.
They're
From a
what-
rural county standpoint of what we want, where we want it.
Right. Yes, sir. So I do know there's some changes there as well. And again, there's been a lot of back and forth, and I need to find out what the governor ended up signing and not. Another one that we're watching is by right affordable housing on religious property. Religious property. So for example, if a church owns 10 acres, they can build by right affordable housing. And that circumvents local zoning and a lot of, again, I'm not commenting good, bad, or indifferent. It's just, it's a big change, right? It's just something, so anyway, so there are quite a few that I'm most interested in. Dave and I are interested to see what happens.
Yeah, please keep us educated to that as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'm looking forward to that. It's in Portsmouth this time. We rotate. We go to all different parts of the state. So I'm in Portsmouth Thursday through Saturday. So I'm not too far if you need me.
Okay, and I know Heather just asked you, I don't know why it's not on the agenda. Mr. County Administrator, do you have anything particularly you'd like to bring up or discuss?
I do not at this time. No,
Okay,
sir.
good man. Item 8, unfinished and new business. I'll start with unfinished business. I'd ask Dave Kretz to come up on unfinished business just for a moment, if he would. I guess I forgot. I know we're going to talk
Yes.
about this during the public hearing. Has there been any large amount of people upset about the change in the noise ordinance?
Well, the noise ordinance is not going to be a zoning function per se,
Yeah,
but we did get one citizen in who owned a business that was concerned that it would affect her business. And the ordinance seems to be more pointed, again, this is not a zoning enforcement area, but it just so happened, I kind of filtered this, it should have gone to administration, and I filtered it, I didn't want to send her up to Heather's office, I know she's busy today, so basically read through the ordinance and kind of interpreted it for her. But basically, the ordinance is not targeted at businesses and the activities they
Correct.
do through during their normal business hours, and that's.
right.
I basically told her if she starts doing what she's doing at 3 in the morning, there might be some issues, and she seemed to be okay with that, so.
Okay.
So I don't want to name that business owner, but in public, but.
Yeah,
anyway,
I was
she-
just curious how many people.
Just the one person in our
Okay,
office,
all
yeah.
right, wonderful. Good.
Yes, sir. And hopefully I've explained everything to her. She seems to be okay with it, so.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Is there any, that was unfinished business, any new business? Discussion? Seeing none, I'll move to matters presented by the board. Mr. Jesse?
I attend the Middle Peninsula Planning District. As you know, we're going to be interviewing next month for another executive director. But other than that, things are going on. Still plenty of grants out there.
Good. Mr. Crittenden?
I had an interesting meeting with the Deltaville Community Association with Mr. Gentry and Mr. Walker. We were presenting their options if they should decide that they want to pursue a sewer system, a small municipal sewer system in Deltaville, how they could best accomplish that. And Matt has agreed to, he's going to be giving them sort of a primer, because when we left, I kind of got the impression that they weren't really, they were interested, but they didn't know where to start. And so, so he was going to give that some information to them to kind of get them, if they did want to pursue that. And I emphasized to them that this was going to be something that they were essentially going to have to initiate, and that if we could give them whatever assistance we could, but that I certainly couldn't commit to what kind of support that they could get from the board.
Great. Moving right along, for me, for matters presented by the board, the high school renovation committee continues to meet and discuss several options out there, or try to get as many as we can on the same page of what we're looking for, and that's still a work in progress. Complex Committee, we didn't have a meeting last week, but I've spent plenty of time up at the complex. Our opening ceremony is this coming Friday, so making sure everything's squared up, ready to go, fields are looking good, et cetera, et cetera. It takes time and effort for that. So been working on that. And that's all I got. Mr. Harris?
Yes, I had the opportunity to attend the Middlesex Chargers Booster Club's first dinner fundraiser. It was very well attended, and I hope they do it again. It was very nice, I thought, very well attended, very well organized. That's another one of those groups that does a lot for our community, does a lot for the county and stuff, and really appreciate people that volunteer their time and stuff. It really was a nice event. That's all I have.
Wonderful. Mr. Williams?
Same thing that Brother Jesse had, went to the planning commission. I found that pretty interesting. Seemed like everything got a spend on there. Seemed like a whole lot of reconstruction and all this kind of stuff, and a lot of things, you make a lot of mistakes, and you try to get it right, and everybody want to hide it, and I found that pretty interesting. Like Brother Jesse said, well, the change in leaderships. I found it very interesting because me and Bill met with Tracy and Mr. Burnett today, Dr. Burnett, and I guess they wanted to talk about are we going the right way or not, because evidently they're kind of confused a little bit. Anyway, we had a positive meeting. It was positive, and I said, they had my name in the sentinel right up top that I want to build a new school. I said, now you got me thinking that way. I said, at first I was kind of like thinking, what's the best for Middlesex is the best location. So it gave me a chance to talk. I said, you got 3 locations in Middlesex if you want to build a new school. And I'm going to give y'all some scenarios. Well, you got one across the road from the high school. You could fit it in. Then if you're going down 33, which we don't know because it's 6 years and nobody done nothing. And I told them today in the meeting, look, I don't want to do y'all job. So I told you with site selling, if you want to do it, you could do it. You had 6 years. Well, in 6 years, it's going to cost the county $26 million more, since that's what y'all want to know, because I didn't want to do. I give you ideas. Do I laugh? I told Tracy when I left her there, I said, Tracy, when was you came to be the superintendent of school? I said, you remember the first thing I told you? I said, they done left you a handful of stuff, and then you got to deal with it. She said, yeah, I remember that. So I sat back and ain't said nothing. So you got 3 locations. I don't guess everybody was looking at it, but I'm going to tell you how fate, I believe in fate. Right now, 33, Lord, I should have bought that 61 acres. Then I know where the school would go, because I can make it so sweet to them, they won't have a choice. But I didn't do that. So I kept on, and I was started asking people about the location. I kept, when I was talking to the guy from VDOT, when I said, oh, shoot, I got a place on Locust Hill you can build it. Did you know that? 40 acres. You make a right turn, the field like that. Oh, the guy got the land, he will sell it. I know that because I asked. All right, and then I go on down about Colonel Griffin Avenue, across from Silver Springs, right down there in the thing. Well, the Robertson owned that. They own 14 acres. So all of a sudden, I'm looking at, I look at something leads us to do things, and I'm gonna get to this point, because even when we met with Steve, which was the engineer up there that built Westmoreland High School. I was just talking, I called Steve. Steve said, you think, I said, wait a minute. I called Matt. Matt called Tracy. Tracy called her chair. Bang, we was on Zoom. Things just don't happen like that, because the average meeting, it took you forever to do it. So I said, man, this thing is messing with me a little bit. So we met today, and I said, well, shoot, one thing is it's a couple of us saying, hey, maybe the best way is to build a new school. Where you put it at is a problem. How you do it is a problem. Well, I said, well, and it was another meeting that we were talking, the supervisor were talking, we weren't thinking about that. So all of a sudden, we talk about parking. Attorney Heather said, well, they park across the road. I said, bang. I said, look, sometimes stuff can be right in your face and you don't recognize it. I'm going to deal with numbers and the taxpayers of Middlesex County. I'm going to tell you that right now. And the only reason I come up with you can't bring it across the road, I asked a question to VDOT today. And I got from two people, I would hate to see my kids walk across the road. And I said, God bless you. I said, because if that's the answer versus cost. And I also throw something in. I look at my engineer there because you got that new building that is 22 years old. Everything else is 75, okay? Everything else is 75. I'm going to give you an example. Now, the old building or whatever it is, somewhere around 1948, 1950. So you look at stuff that one was there. So we came on up and we put the gymnasium there, 77. So we getting it, the building is old. I'm trying to convince myself that we need to do anything. And I did the same thing at the church. And when we did something at the church, what they done, I went there at the church. And y'all let me talk. I went there to the church and I told the pastor, man, he was talking about major renovation or adding a wing on. And I happened to be okay as far as at that particular time, my kids had just graduated, so I just hit a student loan. I say, the only thing I came up with was all about the church and the kids. That's how come we add on, because trustees didn't want to do nothing. Let me call it like I see. One trustee did, I'm just telling you like it is. The trustees are different organizations, wherever you are, you listen to what I'm saying. You sign, if the church wants something, you vote on it, you go and get what the church wants. That's how it's done in the Baptist church. You got piled up, but they ended up, I went to the bank. I actually laid at the bank, Citizen Farm. I said, you tell me something. Because you can do by, in that type of organization, you can do by you stand for a certain amount of money. So if you stand for X number, I asked the lady, she on there, she sell real estate. I said, I knew by name, they might have been so long ago. I said, you tell me. I asked her, if I sign a note and I'm not getting it myself, I said, tell me one good reason. She said, a bank don't want no church. Okay? So I said, okay, I like that answer. Didn't know that a couple of them only signed for a few $1,000s, because once you put your name in, you can get the money, because by group you can get more money. Now let's get back to the school. I got two answers today after I met, and Bill was there. Two answers from Day. One was the crossroad, crossing the road. The other one says a lot of glass. How is it going to be safe because it's wide open? You go in any school that they're building right now, and you walk in that middle of the door, they got computers just like we got around there. If you walking around that school there, well, you don't run around the school behind them. You don't put them, when I was coming up, in a cinder block building where you go down the hallway. We talk about light. We build homes now, we got light and stuff in them. Can we make them safe? Well, the guy told you that when you're putting in a building, that you can put all the hardware you do for the future. So then I would say stuff like, Don, who are we for? Are we for the kids or are we for our personal reasons? And I gave a scenario. Whether I'm right or wrong when I say this, I don't know, but I'm going to say it. 22 years ago, we added on with intention to add on another piece. And Wayne could test their intentions of adding your other piece like the one that they matched 22 years ago. I know because the guy that owned school board was at the building. I said, man, y'all crazy. Why don't you build the whole thing new? Well, they can't get it new because supervisors don't want to improve it. So 22 years ago, they wanted to do something that you're trying to do now. But guess what done changed? 22 years ago, it's a whole different monster now. Everything done changed. So the thinking ahead, we did not think ahead. That's how come we talking about it right now. And, for as money and looking, then I'm sorry. I'm going to always think about Middlesex tax base and how it wiggled out. Okay, how it wiggled out. So when I came on the board, and I would tell people, in the fashion, hey, that's just the idea, because I believe everyone is smart. So I just give you, say, hey, y'all really should, I might have said, build a new school or do the cost. I ain't thought about it no more after that. Okay, it was never in my mind. But now you got my head spinning. You ask me what's wrong. It's sad what I look at. It's sad because we can't make a decision. And the decision from the first time I told them, it's gonna cost the county $30 million time you finance it. What are we doing? It's sad. That's how come I want smiling. Because now we can't make a decision because, I don't like the color of the wall. So we're not gonna do it today, we're not gonna vote on it. And this is just how simple it is. Now I'm gonna get a scenario because I'm thinking about this thing. And this is how I look at some stuff. Everybody says, you look at stuff in a different way, Reggie. I say, yeah, because I'm gonna tell you what happened. You built a wing on the right side, knowing that the idea was building a wing on the other side. Now somebody cemented this thing, and I believe this. So you put an A-class complex there to bind us to an area. Now you come back and say, because this is what I heard by most of us that are out here. If we took a poll, and I did a poll. So I'm not telling you I did a poll. What you think? And somebody knew it. Oh, we can't do nothing because we got the complex. And we still paying on the complex because they asked how much they borrowed on this complex because the show law costs a whole lot of money that we still paying on. I would be very interested if somebody would tell me exactly what they borrowed on that complex. We paying on too long. That place should have been paid for. And plus, I already got an estimate on what it costs to do another complex, just like that one. So all of a sudden, I'm not going to tell you how to do your job. But you put me in a spot that I might just call you out. And that's the only difference. And that's my idea. I think right now, if I was thinking, you've done the complex so you can stay in Saluda. I graduated from Saluda. My kids graduated from Saluda. My son did first state championship, and I think they're doing all right. My daughter, she just dropped down in L.A. today. She's supposed to be speaking at the conservation center or something. I wanted to go with her. Yeah, she just dropped down. My phone kind of messed up then, so she got a doctorate, which I got to go to next month. So Mills has been good. And one thing that all of us know, we saw in the paper that Middlesex was the #1 school in the area. Okay? So when you ride by me, I look good. Everybody say the wow factor, yes. When you come here, I ain't only smart, but I look good and smart. And when you walk in it, I don't have to guess at some things. And that's where I'm at it. And I told him today, I said, money ain't my problem because it's going to cost you 30% of our total bill in the county anyhow. That's a figure I got for a number that I got. 30% of our budget, if we build a new school, renovate, that's where it's going to be 30% or darn close to it, unless we cut it way back and, kind of like add a piece on the house today, and next week we add another piece on. And if we forget, we're going to put it over top of the whole roof, Wayne. So I'll call Wayne as the roofer, right? And he just got to take care of all the valleys. So you got all these valleys, and I'm just saying this thing because I have experienced it in life. I have seen this happen. And how it sounds, I don't know. So they thought of another committee. I hate all these committees you call. You sit on a committee, you solve no problems because you have no vision. You got to have vision at what you know. I got a vision for Middlesex, and I'm fighting. I think this will be the best county in the world. I think we can be an example for everybody else. I truly believe it. But we got to get rid of our selfishness and do what we need to do. I don't have to love you to get along with you, but we're going to get along. And this is the last thing, Don. I don't have long enough. I'm going to say one more thing.
We're on a time frame here.
We had this guy at work. Call him Mike. Mike dead now. Look. Mike dead. So why you bring Mike up? Everybody in the mill knew Mike. And some of y'all heard me say the story. Everybody knew Mike. Superintendent, president, I'm telling you, everybody knew Mike. Nobody want to work with Mike. So guess where they sent old Mike down? They sent him down on Reggie. He think he know everything. Yes, they did say it. So we're going to send old Mike down to see Reggie, right? Coming on down. I had a couple people like that. So we coming on down. I would tell old Mike, I said, hey, Mike, me and you got to get married today. He said, what you mean? I said, when you punch that card, you mean, because nobody else wants you, but I'm going to take you. And I treat him just like a man, respectable. I heard him use language to his mother, his child, his son, everybody, because we had a phone. And I could hear him, man, who you talking to like that? He would say something, and I showed him, I think I showed him that I cared. Yeah. I had no problem with it. But the roster, before one day at work, I ate some of his upside down pineapple cake. and he went home. He said he got sick and went home. He got sick. I said, what wrong, Mike? I said, look, I got somebody coming for you. You go ahead. About a half hour later, I started sweating. I ain't seen no bubbles on my head, Don. No bigger than that, and I'm sitting outside with the air conditioner on the inside. I'm sitting down. I'm sick as a dog, man. I let down, called my daughter up. I think she said, "Well, you come on down here soon as you get off." I said, "I came on down here." But I asked Mike when he got back to work, "Mike, how long you had it?" He said, "Man, my wife had put it on the table. I had it out there but a week, and I figured we come on work, and me and you ate it." But said the same thing. He ate it, and I ate it, right? And both of us got sick as a dog. But you know, I always
Y'all were tight after that.
look, I didn't have no problem with him because I showed him that I cared. That's all I'm trying to show him I cared. Now, I could give another sample, another guy, but I'm gonna leave that for another day. So Don, that's how remember.
Be careful about that upside pineapple.
Yeah, I don't mess with no whole lot of stuff. Like pineapple cake that been out, but
Get on that, Larry.
That's just how I am, man. I'm sorry.
All right, moving right along.
Makes it fun.
Yeah, I'm going to open the floor for any public comments.
She's going to talk about pineapple upside down cake. Don't eat it. Is it on?
You see what I'm saying? What's the problem?
That's okay, I got it, Heather.
It's easy for me to do it now.
You all are cordially invited, personally invited, since I don't ever see any of you at anything we do, Monday, April 27th at 5:30, the NAACP Middlesex Branch and the Middlesex Rotary Club are going to have an AI, what's happening now and what comes next. It's a community conversation on artificial intelligence. It will start at 5:30 at St. Clair Walker Middle School, and one of our panelists is Mr. Kevin Gentry. And we will have Mr. Greg Grinchmeyer and Mr. Chris, and Reverend Wright will also be on the panel. So I hope to see all of you at 5:30, Monday, April 27th.
At the,
Wait a minute.
place we can have it.
What day was that again?
Chris Henley.
427.
April 27th.
27th, okay.
yeah, I think everybody got a flyer invite on that.
The original one got canceled because of weather, so.
Okay.
April the 27th.
Seeing nobody else that may want to talk, I'm going to close the public comment section.
All right, Mr. Chairman. So I do have a question before we go into closed session.
Okay.
Well, first off, just for the media and for citizens, I do not know if we will be taking action, but the good news is at 7 PM, we have a public hearing, so if we do, after we come out of closed session, we have still more going on. I just genuinely don't know, I'm sorry. Logistically, would you like to be upstairs or downstairs? Both work?
I don't care, what's the flavor of the rest of y'all? Did you set the food up somewhere?
We have it in both areas. I've got to combine it, so that's why so it's one half dozen the other. Do you
What's
have
easier for you?
Okay, well, if that's what, I didn't know if there was a preference, because you went right here. We'll stay right here. So we are going to kick out the, I've been indicated by Mr. Lavender that we're going to stay in here, so I will ask the public to leave after we have the motion. So with that, gentlemen, it would be appropriate for the board to make a motion to convene in closed session pursuant to Virginia Code Sections 2.2-3711A3 and A8. This is so the board can discuss acquiring real property for a public purpose, and so the board can discuss disposing of its publicly held property, and where a discussion in open session would adversely affect the bargaining position of the public body, and so that you may consult with legal counsel about these specific legal matters, the specific processes and questions that you have thereof.
So moved. So moved by Mr. Jesse.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bill Harris. Roll call, please.
Mr. Crittenden?
Yes.
Mr. Jesse?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Bill Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Don Harris?
Aye. We motion to move into closed session.
So I have half of everything downstairs, so if you'll give me just a minute.
Yeah, no problem. I got to go out to my car anyway.
They got half up here and half down there.